San Diego, it's time to fire it up. From the beaches to the ballparks, from the Gaslamp to North County, no one knows America's finest city like he does.
You can't just punt on a Manny Machado prime use.
He's a fourth-generation San Diegan, born and raised in the heart of this community. Passionate, opinionated, and always bringing you the real talk on your teams, your city, and everything in between.
Braden totally knows his stuff. He's ready for the next step. That guy is good.
Live and local, it's the Braden Surprenant Show.
But I think Braden's one of the up-and-coming young stars in the media game in San Diego.
Now, here's your host, Braden Surprenant.
What's up, San Diego? Happy Friday to everybody out there in America's finest city. Trying to get some energy and some positivity on a Friday. It's been a rough week, Padres fans. It's 6 straight losses for the San Diego Padres. Coming back to yesterday. We spent a long time yesterday talking about the game as we were at the blood drive. Scraby and I, as I was filling for Crisello, who was on vacation. A lot of vacations going on at the fan of the next couple of weeks or so. I am one of those. I will be off the next 2 weeks because of a trip already planned previously a year out, going to Italy. I will have updates from Italy. We recapping Padres games and everything like that on social media. So you haven't done so already, follow me on social media at B_SURP at BSURP. You can follow me on Twitter. You can follow me on /X. You can follow me on Instagram, TikTok. I will have updates on what I'm thinking about the Padres and the Padres world from various locations in the homeland of Italy, as Frank likes to call it. So that will be the next couple of weeks. But today will be our last show for a while. And we'll be talking a lot of Padres baseball. As mentioned before, we'll also have Atlanta Braves' Nick Allen on the show today, a San Diego kid now playing for the Atlanta Braves. We will have him on at 10:35. Drake Hills will join us at 1:35. Lots to talk about in the sports world, not just the Padres. NFL decided to change some rules. We'll tell you which ones got approved, which ones did not. Coming up at 11:35. Got some players that are off to pretty good starts in Major League Baseball that might be able to win their first MVP. We'll buy or sell whether or not we think those players can do that in the 11 o'clock hour. AJ Preller was on with Bennett Woods earlier today and said some very interesting things that we'll get to at the top of the hour in the 11 o'clock hour as well, and kind of digest some of the things that AJ Preller said with Ben and Woods. Got some college football news to get to in the lunchtime hour, a lunchtime hour bite down from an Italian place last night that I went to, and much, much more to get to here on the Braden Surprenant Show. So hopefully you guys are getting ready for a big Memorial Day weekend. Obviously, people might be traveling today or tomorrow, 3-day weekend for most of you out there. Monday, we're off. There will be no shows on Monday here on 97.3 The Fan. We will have the Padres playing the Marlins at about, was that a 3-something start, I think, on Memorial Day. So no shows on Monday, but then we'll resume again on Tuesday for Ben and Woods and Gwen and Chris. So that's kind of the rundown for the next couple of weeks. But let's talk a little bit about the Padres. I don't want to spend too much time on last night's game because we talked a lot about it yesterday. And people were pissed because the Padres have lost 6 straight. To say that good teams don't lose 6 games in a row, I mean, it happens. I thought yesterday's at-bats were a lot better than they were the previous days in Toronto. I thought the energy was a lot better. I thought they really did a good job bouncing back from the day before where they looked completely out of it at that point in time. Where they lost to the Blue Jays by 2 touchdowns on Tuesday. Or, sorry, what was that? Wednesday? On Wednesday. I thought they battled back a little bit yesterday. Now, just because you have better at-bats doesn't mean you're going to end up winning games. Things kind of got awry from the Padres. Nobody asked Mike Shildt about it. I'm curious what his answer would be. And I think the media is just, might be just tired of asking him questions on certain situations and strategy when things don't work, because he gets super defensive about it instead of just being like, hey, look, this is what we saw. This is what we had. I can reason with that a little bit more, but it's general curiosity and we didn't talk about it yesterday, But with runners on first and third and 1 out in extra innings and the game is tied, why weren't they in double play depth? I don't get why the middle infield had to be in. I would have done corners in and second and short and double play depth. That was kind of confusing for me. I don't know why that was the situation. I'm trying to figure out reasons why that could have been the play for the Padres. I don't know if it was a mixed, maybe it was a miscommunication. Maybe they didn't think maybe they forgot they had 1 out or something like that. But it didn't make any sense when you need a ground ball to get a double play to get it into the next inning and keep the game alive, to have your infield in worried about the runner at home, unless they thought with the guy at the plate, they didn't think they were going to be able to turn a double play in time. I mean, I don't understand the reasoning behind that decision. I'm not saying it's the wrong decision. I'm just would like to know why the Padres decided to do that. Because I think the Padres would have been able to turn a double play. I really do. I mean, the fact the ball was probably hit to a spot that would have been double play depth, the Padres would have been out of the inning, and you would have gone to the 11th. I don't understand the logic there. Make me understand. Nobody asked him about it. I could not believe nobody asked him about that in the post-game press conference yesterday, unless everybody needed a flight to catch and they were trying to get through customs and everything to get out of Canada. Nobody asked the question. I was confused. But anyway, bullpen did not get the job done there late when the Padres ended up coming back a little bit. I thought they showed a lot more fight. I thought they, I thought they put together a lot better at bats. I think you saw the energy a little bit more out of the Padres yesterday, and they ended up losing a very close and good game. The problem is they hadn't played that well the first couple of games of the series or over the weekend against the Mariners, and so it spiraled into a 6th straight loss. Now they got to try to regroup and go down to Atlanta and get a victory over the Braves. Now, the Padres have already won the season series over Atlanta. So from that perspective, you've already won the tiebreaker. But, you can't be getting swept by Atlanta, losing 9 straight games. I mean, not only does that completely wipe out the 7 games that you won to start the season, but that also, puts you in a little bit of a hole in a time where the Dodgers are starting to turn things around again. The Giants already passed you in the standings. Now you got to try to keep pace with a lot of teams in the National League. So tonight's a pretty big game, I would say, for the San Diego Padres against Atlanta. And Atlanta's been waiting for this opportunity. I mean, they got embarrassed in the first 4 games of the season here in San Diego, and they just got Ronald Acuna Jr. back. They just activated Acuna from the injured list, so should be having Acuna sometime this weekend. But the Padres need to be able to bounce back a little bit and put some W's in the win column, because it's tough. And now you got to face Chris Sale, game 1, who has historically done well against the San Diego Padres. Chris Sale's 2-3 with a 3.62 ERA, but has been pretty good against the Padres in his career. I think, what did you say? Ben had the tweet put out about Chris Sale.
Oh, yes. Oh, no, it was Woodsy that did
Woods
that.
did it. About how good Sale's been against the San Diego Padres.
Sale is 5-0 with a 1.91 ERA and 37 strikeouts, and I think it was 9 starts in his career against
5
the Padres.
appearances. I just pulled it up. Chris Sale's a record of 4-0 with an ERA of 1.91, 37 punch-outs, and 5 appearances against the Padres in his career. Swell. Nothing like a team that has not hit well over the last couple of weeks going against a guy that completely owns them, at least statistically. And Acuna's back. What more could you ask for? Great. So great. And he's a lefty who the Padres aren't very good against anyway. So we'll see what happens. They got to be able to bounce back tonight against the Atlanta Braves. I mean, they lose 2 out of 3 in Atlanta, and if they lose the next 2 and then win on Sunday, maybe you flip it. But the month of May was supposed to be a month to get you on track. You look at the Padres' upcoming schedule, it's not going to get a lot easier. You got Atlanta for the next couple of days on the road. Then you got Miami, a little bit of a break, which is nice if you could take care of business against a lousy team. And then you got Pittsburgh at home next weekend. No Paul Skeens again. And then it gets to it's time to put your big boy pants on. Giants, Milwaukee, LA, Arizona, LA, Kansas City. And then, since everybody thinks the Washington Nationals are the greatest team ever assembled because of one trade, you got the Nationals after that. And then you got the Connor Joe Revenge Series against Cincinnati over the weekend of the end of June before you go to Philly. June's a rough mark for the Padres, real rough mark. And as I mentioned before, Acuna has been activated for the Atlanta Braves, which means he'll probably be in the lineup tonight. So you're going against a pretty much full squad for Atlanta tonight against their number one pitcher in Chris Sale, who's a left-hander. That has been a problem for the Padres all season long. Now's a great time as ever to flip the script on everything. Game will be tonight. They changed their game times, right? They're not 4:20 anymore. Oh, 4:15. Wow. Move the game up 5 minutes in the Battery. 4:15 start tonight on the West Coast against the Atlanta Braves. We will get you a preview of that throughout the rest of the show. EcoWater SoCal Padres pregame show at 3:15 as the Padres continue an East Coast swing. Couple of takeaways from the series in Toronto and some things that happened yesterday that have a little bit of a conversation attached to it. We'll talk about Gavin Sheets. We'll talk about Luis Arraez. We'll talk about a bigger problem, whether it be left field or the catching situation, and we'll talk about the brown jerseys. All coming up next on the Braden Surprenant Show, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. It's a slow build today on the YouTube stream. Slow build. God, people are they're getting disgruntled with the pods, man. They're down in the dumps, Frank. Also, it's a holiday weekend, so what are you gonna do?
It's also that just means there's a lot of travel, which means you guys are listening to the radio, which means it should be tuned to 97.3 The Fan.
That's right. I have gotten our signal up to Mission Viejo a couple times. It's not bad. Works out.
Pretty decent range.
Yeah. I know there's a lot of patches throughout the county that are interesting. But that being said, comes through. And then once you leave the area, flip on the app. And then you can continue to listen as you drive. It's great. It's a phenomenal time.
It's workarounds for everything.
619 Bengals fan put this other thing in there. No, I think it's fake news, dude. I'm pretty sure that was from a fake account too. So I don't think that was the case on some of that stuff.
Well, I missed it. Now I got to go back and look.
It was something to do with like a disagreement in the clubhouse after one of the game, after the 14-0 game in Toronto.
I'm seeing it now.
Fake. There's a lot of fake accounts now, and it makes it difficult. I mean, already, because the only way to get verified in anything on any social media platform now is to pay for it, which is kind of defeats the purpose of being verified. But like, there's a lot of accounts that are fake that will use according to and then real account. And then the person that is the real account would have to go out there like, this actually never happened. I don't know why I'm getting tagged in this. So you got to be careful about those. This is kind of the pre-warning before the trade deadline where you start seeing everybody doing this.
I'll tell you what's not fake news, at least from what I've seen so far. Ronald Acuna Jr. is back. He is officially back on the Atlanta Braves roster. He will be in the lineup tonight. Did you see who they DFA'd to make room for him?
Yes. What was it?
Orlando Arcia.
Yeah, Orlando Arcia.
Down to the minors.
The minors are just DFA'd.
It was DFA'd, but he'll
make it out. He's not going to
he'll
get
have
picked
to
up.
pass through waivers and
all that fun stuff. You know who else was DFA'd today? Frank, you know who else was DFA'd today?
I do, actually, yes.
Our guy. Bring him home.
Hunter Renfroe.
Hunter Renfroe DFA'd today from the Kansas City Royals. Hunter Renfroe this year in 2025. I can't even believe his stat line. Have you seen it?
I have not, no.
Okay. What would you guess Hunter Renfroe's batting average is right now?
183.
182.
Whoa! I was going to say 182 too.
How many home runs?
5.
0.
Well, okay.
That's surprising to me.
Yeah.
The 182 is not surprising.
No, not at all.
The no home runs was surprising.
12 RBIs.
He's got 4. This year for the Kansas City Royals.
Okay, how many games?
35.
Oh, boy.
This year for the Kansas City Royals, in 35 games, Hunter Renfroe has had 108 plate appearances. He's 18 for 99. He has scored 5 runs. He has hit 6 doubles, no triples, no home runs. He has hit 4. He's driven in 4 runs. He has 8 walks, and he has struck out 21 times. His batting average is 182. His on base is 241. His slug is 242. His OPS is 483. OPS plus is 37. Is Hunter Renfroe an upgrade in left field for the Padres?
100%. Get rid of Jason Hayward now. Done.
Oh my God, dude. A negative 1.5 WAR? Just again, in comparison. OPS plus. In any of the statistical categories that have a plus, What it means is an average baseball player is 100. An average baseball player is 100. Hunter Renfroe, OPS plus is 37. 37. 63 percentage points below an average player in Major League Baseball. Fans all over social media when they saw that. Our guy Divine Sports Gospel. Bring him home. Bring him home.
Bleep it, we ball. Let's go.
We ride. I love those. You know what I love? I love when people like at the trade deadline always go like, F it. Just get so-and-so and this and we ride. I love it every time. It's always like the most bizarre names too. Just get Tyler Ward and some bullpen arm and we ride. That's all we need. That's all the spark we need. Oh, man. Anyway, Hunter Renfroe, DFA. Padres fans, you want him back? 182 batting average, 241 on base, 242 slug, no home runs, 4 RBIs, 21 strikeouts. He's 18 for 108. He's got a negative 1.5 WAR.
If anyone in the chat legitimately wants Hunter Renfroe after hearing that, I think we might have to DFA some of them to like the pregame show or something. DFA the chat to the pregame show.
Oh my God. Setting him down to the pregame show. They didn't even get postgame level. It's like going down to double-A, apparently, according to Frank.
Well, no,
Insane.
the postgame show, for someone who has worked the postgame show live streams, that is... Oh boy, you get some good stuff in the postgame show.
They're working on their chat.
That's high single A right there is the postgame show. So we'll go to the pregame show.
DFA does mean more times than not to Boats 316 that the guy's gone, because usually somebody will pick him up if he's a professional player, or he will opt out and just be like, I'm out.
Yeah.
I'll go sign a free agent contract. Tyler Wade did not do that. He wanted to stay here in San Diego. It was a good option for him.
I just saw from David O'Brien on Twitter, the Braves designate Orlando Arcia for assignment to open a roster spot for Acuna. The fall from grace is complete from all-star to DFA in less than 24 months.
It happens, dude. It's a tough game.
Oof.
I know it's not the NFL, but that's why the NFL stands for not for long.
I thought it was no fun league.
I mean, it's a lot of different things. You can have fun with NFL as initials. I say no on Hunter Renfroe. I don't know, people. Maybe it's a change of scenery. Fernando Tatis still available? What's he up to right now? I guess you can go get David Peralta. Nobody's called him. Anthony Rizzo will be a first baseman for you for $5 million if you want. No thanks.
Heard Franchi Cordero's still around.
Franchi Cordero's doing his thing. Hey, I heard Raimel Tapia's in the Mexican League. Maybe we should give him a call.
Luke Voigt was in the Mexican League last year.
That's right. I think Daniel Camarena is going to the Mexican League. Didn't hear that here first. He said he was interested. We'll see. Maybe he's going out there to pitch. Never know. 833-288-0973. 833-288-0973. Jason Encinitas. We got time for a quick phone call before we get Nick Allen on the show. Jason, what's going on, man?
Hey, Braden. First I wanted to go back to your donut conversation from last week. You got to put the maple bars got to be, absolutely in the dozen. But I wanted to talk a little bit about this team. I mean, the way the lineup is constructed, there's obviously very little power, and the problem is that the alternative, where they talk about passing the baton, sort of relies on 9 guys that you can pass it to. And the problem is that you only got 6 bats basically, and you've got 3 guys at the bottom that are, to use the analogy, are not really capable of passing the baton to. They're dropping it. So that's really the problem that I'm seeing offensively, and I wanted to see your take on that.
Yeah, they and I appreciate the phone call. I think they've gotten out of what has made them so good at the beginning part of the season. I think a little bit had to do with some pressing. I think you're seeing that a lot out of the Padres. And it's not they're not passing the baton, and they're not grinding out the at bats, and they're starting to swing at some of the pitches that they would spit on earlier in the year. I think Fernando's getting a little bit hosed at the in the strike zone, and I think he's getting frustrated over that on top of some other things. So, I like their offensive philosophy. It's just currently they're in a little bit of a snide. I mean, if you wouldn't change your entire offensive playbook in a football season if you went on a 3-game losing streak. You might mix in a couple of different plays, but you're not going to change and go from a spread offense to a wing T or run the triple option now all of a sudden when you're a high tempo team. I mean, you're not going to just drastically scrap everything and throw it out. They got to hit their way out of it. Mike Shildt continues to say that. He's not wrong. 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. It's Friar Friday, which means we usually have an executive on with Ben and Woods and AJ Preller. And we're going to hear what AJ Preller said in the 11 o'clock hour. And we always have a player on with Quinn and Chris. We like to get the San Diego player on the opposing team. When we come back, Nick Allen, who played at Francis Parker High School here in town, who is now a member of the Atlanta Braves, whose father-in-law is Brett Boone, who has been on our show multiple times and is now a coach for the Texas Rangers. There's a lot to unpack with Nick. And I look forward to having that conversation with him when we come back on the Braden Surprenant Show on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97 through the Fan. 10:35 out here on the West Coast in America's finest city. Braden Surprenant show alongside Frank Marchese. Joining me now on the Braden Surprenant show. He is a third-round draft pick by the then Oakland Athletics out of high school. He attended Francis Parker High School as a senior at Francis Parker. He was a Rawlings Perfect Game preseason first-team All-American. He's currently a member of the Atlanta Braves, who the Padres will start a 3-game series against coming up this weekend in Atlanta. His name is Nick Allen, and he joins me on the Braden Surprenant show. Nick, what's going on, man? How's your Friday going?
Well, first of all, thank you guys for having me on. No, the Friday's going good, but we got in late from DC, or I'd say early morning. We got in around 2:30. So, no, we're just getting the day started and ready to rock.
Nick, let's talk about your time, obviously, growing up here in San Diego. And I know we got some other things that we want to discuss with you, but you go to Francis Parker, for school. Did you go there for all of school or just high school? Because I know it's one of those kindergarten through 12 grade schools.
Yeah, I got there in 8th grade, so I did 8 to 12. I had a fantastic time there. Great school, great academics, and just great people.
You committed to University of Southern California, USC. You got drafted by the A's in the 3rd round in 2017 out of Francis Parker. What went into the decision to sign with the A's and start your professional career instead of going up and playing at Dado Field?
Yeah, I think, right before the draft, I sat down with my agents and my family, and we just kind of created like a little number in our head that we wanted to meet. And the A's came calling in the 3rd round and met that number. So it was just kind of a no-brainer decision from there. It was hard to say no to USC for sure because I love the school. But if I got the number that we wanted, and it'd make the decision easy for me. And so that's what we got.
Made your debut in 2022 with the Oakland Athletics. What was that experience like for you and for your family when you got to be in the big leagues for the first time?
Oh, it was amazing. Again, can't thank the Oakland A's enough for giving me this opportunity to live out my dream. And to get in a call, I was actually getting a couples massage with my wife, and then I got a ton of voice calls, like messages, and then text messages telling me to answer my phone. And it was from my agents, and then also my AAA skipper is like, hey, you need to answer your phone right now. And then, I called my AAA manager back, and then he was like, are you just getting out of your massage? Because I told him about the day before. And then I was like, yeah. And he was like, well, you're going to the big leagues. And I was like, oh, are you kidding me? So that was an awesome moment. And being able to play against the Baltimore Orioles and seeing the actual big league jerseys that you're, playing against, it's surreal.
Got to join the ranks of your father-in-law and his brother. You're married to his daughter, Savannah Boone, who is the daughter of Brett Boone, is a good friend of ours here at the radio station. What is it like at family gatherings and everything else where you meet with the Boone side of the family, where you got manager of the Yankees, and you got now the hitting coach of the Texas Rangers, and everybody's usual family situation, Nick, that doesn't involve baseball? If you work the same craft as your father-in-law, he usually likes to give you advice. What are family gatherings like for you, knowing that the Boone side of the family has had a prestigious baseball careers?
Yeah, we try not to bring up baseball that much because we know we'll go into big, long conversations about it. Just because it's so ultra competitive in the house, and everyone has obviously got so much talent, and have their stories to tell. So when we get into it, it's fun, but we try to just keep it, to just kind of normal conversations, talking about life. So just try to keep it as normal as possible.
When you found out that Brett was going to be the hitting coach of the Texas Rangers, what was your reaction to that? And is the game on the calendar upcoming against the Rangers circled for you now?
Oh, it definitely is. Savannah said, after one of my game series, like, my dad's got something to tell you, but I can't say anything. And I was like, what's going on? So I ended up calling him later that night, and just Brett, he's just so in the moment. And we were just talking about normal stuff before that even came up. And I was like, well, Savannah said you had something to tell me. And he's like, oh, yeah. Well, I'm taking the hitting coach job for the Rangers. And I was like, it was crazy that he didn't tell me right off the bat, and we were just kind of talking about other stuff. But no, it's a big moment for him. I know he's very excited, so we're all excited for him.
Oh, it should be fun when you guys take on the Texas Rangers. Over the offseason, you got traded to Atlanta Braves, first time being traded. What was that experience like, and what were some of the kind of excitement of starting with maybe a new organization, knowing that you could be at the big league level?
Yeah, it's a brand new start. New team. So came into spring training with just an open mind, trying to get better, trying to earn a spot on this team, and just kind of show what I could do and how I can help this team win. So, I think we're on the right track right there, and just got to keep going and taking it one day at a time. I'm just very thankful for the Braves giving me this opportunity.
Atlanta Braves infielder Nick Allen joining us on the Braden Surprenant Show. You guys started off the season here in San Diego. Didn't really work out in terms of the wins and losses. Rough start to the season, but you guys have really turned it around. What has been the, obviously getting a couple pieces back is always great, but what has been the biggest difference for you guys over the last couple of weeks and last month after a rough start to the year?
I think the biggest thing is just not to panic. There's a lot of talented guys in our clubhouse, and they know how to win. So we just kind of kept level-headed and kept working. And then, as you can see, we started adding on some wins and playing better baseball. So again, it's a long season, so we just got to take it one day at a time. And we got a lot of talent in this room. So if we do that, I think we're going to be in a good spot.
What's it like? And I know this is opening. It was opening day this year, but what was it like being in San Diego for opening day, your hometown, even though you're representing an organization that wasn't your hometown organization, but being in San Diego on opening day, I mean, that had to feel pretty cool moment for you in your career.
Yeah, I mean, born and raised in San Diego, going to Padres games when I was young, and got to play on that field a couple times in high school, but it's nothing like the big leagues. So it was that game was definitely circled on the calendar. Right when I got traded over, I was like, wow, we open up in San Diego. Don't get too far ahead. I got to make this team. But that was definitely an exciting moment. It was fun seeing the crowd, seeing friends and family in the stands and playing in front of them, and just being in the city of San Diego. It's a great city, and that's why I call it home during the off season.
Well, Nick, as we talk with Nick Allen, Atlanta Braves infielder here on the Braden Surprenant Show, we have a lot of guys on that are San Diegans that play throughout the big leagues, and there's a lot of great San Diego players out there playing Major League Baseball right now. And every time I got to ask, what is the one place, or what is the one type of what's the one food item that you have to get when you come home to San Diego, either it be on a road trip here from when you're playing in the big leagues or during the off season? First time you land at Lindbergh Field, what do you got to go get?
Ooh, it's a tough question. There's a place in kind of like Mission Valley area called Basilica. It's a Italian restaurant. I gotta get. I don't know. This is weird. I gotta get their salad. They have an amazing salad dressing and just some good pasta. So I think that's one food item. I love Board and Brew. That's an easy go-to.
Easy.
Yeah. And then I got Cecil's Market. Try to go get some steaks from down there and cook them up. So that's kind of near the house. And yeah, it's there's obviously great options in San Diego. So yeah, no doubt.
Nick, we appreciate the time, man. San Diego, even though you're playing for the other team this weekend, San Diego's got this deal where we'd love supporting all of our guys that are playing in big league baseball. Keep up the good work, man. Continue to have some success, and hopefully you don't take it too bad on the Padres this weekend, at least from all the Padres fans out there.
No, yeah, we're gonna try to do our best here. But no, again, thankful for everything the city of San Diego has done for me. But yeah, I guess I got to say go Braves right now. So sorry about that.
It's fine, man. We had Sean Bouchard on, and he said go Rockies. It's part of the deal. We totally understand. Nick, appreciate the time, man. We'll talk to you next time.
All right, have a good one, guys. Thank you for having me on.
Atlanta Braves infielder Nick Allen joining us on the Braden Surprenant Show. And a big thank you to him and his wife, Savannah, who helped get him on the show today. Obviously, with some of the connections we have with Brett Boone, it's cool to see. So I couldn't imagine. I'm not married, nor do I have a girlfriend of any kind, but I could not imagine like competing against like your father-in-law at the big league level. I mean, when they go to, I can't remember if they play in Texas or if they're playing in Atlanta, but it's coming up pretty soon where the Braves and the Rangers will go at it. And maybe we get Boone on for that series. I think we could probably do it. But when they play Texas, I think it's in July, if I'm not mistaken.
Taking a look now.
Yeah, July. It is in Texas. The Braves will be in Texas July 25th, 26th, 27th. I know Brett's a hitting coach. But, like, you think he's telling Boch, hey, man, you got to attack Nick like this? Is he extra stressed watching that? What's Savannah going to do in the stands? It's just so much. And how about this? He plays the Yankees the weekend before. So Nick Allen has, what is that? Your like uncle-in-law, I guess. He's got Aaron. He's got Uncle Aaron the 18th, 19th, and 20th in Atlanta. Then they play the Giants for 3 games, and then they go to Texas to take on his father-in-law. That's an interesting stretch. Got Aaron Boone and Brett Boone back to back. That's insane. So cool. Like getting that experience. Nick Allen, again, big thanks to him for joining the show. We'll have that posted later on in the show. But it's good. I mean, I like seeing all these. And, unfortunately, since I won't be on next week because of vacation, Padres play the Marlins. Marlins have 2 San Diego kids on their team. Stowers from Christian High School and Calvin Fauché, one of their back-end bullpen guys. He's out of Hilltop, ended up going to UC Irvine too. Those are 2 guys that we have to reconvene with when the Padres go down to Miami. But there's so much talent, Frank, in Major League Baseball that comes out of San Diego. It's great to have these guys join our show.
Yeah, and especially doing this because we're trying to get as much local flavor as we possibly can, and we've both seen eye to eye, I think, as far as like the guests that we want to try to get and stuff like that. Looking through these teams, yeah, it's amazing how many San Diego natives, or in the case of Toronto and Alejandro Kirk, Tijuana natives that are out there in Major League Baseball.
I totally forgot about this, by the way. I texted you. We had Eric Lauer on, who was a former Padre.
Yes.
I still think it was a good get. Tyler Heineman's my neighbor. I totally forgot about that. Tyler Heineman just bought a house in my neighborhood. My mom sold it to him. She's a real estate agent. And as they were going through escrow and everything, he's getting traded to Toronto. He's never played in San Diego, but I think his wife's from here or something like that. Tyler Heineman's a San Diego resident right now. Like, I should have had him on. Hey, what do you think of the neighborhood? What do you think about the HOA fees? What's your opinion on this? Hilarious.
I didn't necessarily know who Tyler Heineman was because, again, it wasn't my week to watch him. And what was the first thing I texted you? Because I thought it was like a baseball guest or someone that we could have on at any time.
Yeah, what is he, 90? And
yeah, I'm like,
is he way out?
Is he 90 and on life support?
No. But
well, then great. We can have him on after you come back from Italy. And then you said he was a Toronto Blue Jay catcher. I'm like, oh, okay.
Well, context, I guess.
Next year.
Next year.
It's always next year.
Yeah, when he's not a Blue Jay anymore and he's playing for somebody else. As long as he's, whatever. But I was like, I totally forgot about that. I mean, there's a lot of guys that like just live here in San Diego that don't even play for the Padres and didn't grow up here, but they live here now. See that with some former players. I mean, David Justice never played for the Padres, and Jermaine Dye, they both live here. Or
never bumped into any of them, which is unfortunate.
Got to hang out in the North County a little bit, dude. You see a lot of them up there.
Well, probably.
Anyway, good get on the on Nick Allen. And big thanks for him taking the time because, again, it's
100%.
What time is it now? In
10 to
Atlanta?
10 to 2.
Yeah, 2 o'clock. So, or 1 o'clock. It's 1 o'clock out there? About to be 2 o'clock in Atlanta?
Yeah, it's 10 minutes to 2.
Yeah, showing up soon to the ballpark. Late night last night, getting in from D.C., as he mentioned before. So, big thanks to him joining the show. Is he going to start tonight at shortstop or second base?
I would have to assume he's going to, especially with Arcia DFA'd.
They just DFA'd Arcia. I would imagine he probably has an opportunity to do that. Looking at the Braves roster. Acuna is back today, just a reset for everybody that's out there. Infielders, Albies, Allen, Arcia, who's now just got DFA'd. Matt Olson, Austin Riley, Luke Williams. There's a good chance that Nick Allen probably starts tonight for the Atlanta Braves. Allen this year.
Yeah, Adam was telling me he's basically took the job from Arcia with how good he's been defensively so far this season.
He's hit 258, man. He's got 0.8 WAR. Hasn't hit a home run. You don't really need that at your shortstop. 10 RBIs. Got a good start to the season for Atlanta. So he was traded for a minor league piece. Good for him. 26 years old, out of Francis Parker. Someone to watch for and root for. So hopefully Nick Allen has a great game and everybody else sucks for the Atlanta Braves this weekend. It's hard sometimes when you have people that you know that play for the other team that your favorite team is playing. 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. We had a guy in the comments go like, until Braden goes on vacation or shaves his mustache, the Padres are going to lose. Well, it sounds like the Padres are about to go on a nice little winning streak here. Don't know if I'm going to keep the mustache in Italy. I haven't decided yet. And to which my friend Johnny, who's also in the chat, goes, if you're going to have a mustache, isn't that like the one place you'd want to have a mustache? Highly possible. Highly possible. Coming up in the next segment, Ben and Woods, is part of our Friar Fridays, gets to talk to somebody from the Padres front office. They got to talk to AJ Preller today, and he had a lot of interesting things to say, obviously, about the San Diego Padres. We are going to hear and break down some of the things that he said this morning about the Padres. Obviously, we had a lot of things, a lot of moving parts with San Diego over these last kind of 6 games. People ready to jump off the bandwagon here in San Diego. But he's talked about the losing streak. He talks about what happens next for the Padres, how much time he gives rookies, what's going on with Luis Campusano. What about Jake Cronenworth potentially playing left field? That was an interesting topic of discussion that we've had. I wouldn't mind seeing Jake Cronenworth play left field for the Padres. Got a Yu Darvish update, a little bit on Tatis body language. I mean, a lot to break down when it comes to the Padres that AJ Preller talked about with Ben and Woods. We're getting mixed reviews on the mustache. Keep it. Get rid of it. Keep it. Get rid of it. Here's the thing. By the time I get back from vacation, it probably would have grown back anyway. So it's kind of like a fresh restart. People won't even notice the difference.
You can always cut it in half, right down the middle. Just pick a side you want to get rid of.
Does it have a side stash?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure that would look great.
Trying to make everybody happy here. Some people like it, some don't. So let's go half and half on it.
I look like a New York Yankee from like the 70s. Oh, that hits you in the feels. Now you definitely want the mustache gone. I'm surprised this doesn't enrage you all the time.
No,
it looks
doesn't.
very Don Mattingly-esque.
I don't. It's your face, dude. I don't care. It's your face. What am I gonna do?
Oh man, Nate Adams. We need a break from American League teams. Apparently, we do.
We're gonna get one, I think.
Apparently, we do. Got a lot of good feedback on the interview with Nick Allen. That's Frank, man. Frank's getting the work done, getting in some great guests. First thing Frank does for every series, takes a look. Where's the San Diego kids at? Or the San Diego State USD alumni at? It's good to have those guys on. He's done a great job getting us some players. 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. We'll come back with your phone calls. But what did A.J. Preller say about Tatis's body language? What he thinks. We'll talk about it when we come back on the Braden Surprenant Show. Sanga's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. Second hour of the Braden Surprenant show on a Friday, lead you into Gwen and Chris, and then the EcoWater SoCal Padres pregame show with Sam Levitt. Padres start a 3-game series against the Atlanta Braves coming up tonight. 3-game series. Padres already won the series for the season against Atlanta. And we'll try to get off of this 6-game losing streak as soon as possible. AJ Preller joined Ben and Woods earlier today. We're going to dive into some of the things he said, like his initial thoughts on the losing streak. Here's AJ Preller earlier this morning on Ben and Woods.
Obviously, Braves this weekend, and I think it's ultimately, what we've done over the last few years. It creates expectations, which is a good thing. You want that. You want people to expect the team to play well and do it consistently. And I think our fan base has gotten used to a team that especially in the first month of the season, played really, really good baseball. It was fun to watch, and obviously over the last week we haven't played up to that level. And it's a long year, and ultimately now it's about making some adjustments and getting back to playing the kind of baseball that everybody expects us to play.
Basically, everything that we've been saying on the show the last couple of weeks, or last week, I should say. They know that what style of baseball they can play. They know they can play that level of baseball. They can get back to playing it. I still keep going back to what Mike Shildt said on Sunday. We got to hit our way out of this. That's exactly what they got to do. They got to play their way out of this. There's nothing else on the horizon that's going to change. He's just saying a lot all the time. No, you're on your own, and nobody's coming to help you. That is what the Padres are in the 6-game losing streak. They're on their own, and there's nobody coming to help them. They need to figure it out. And until they do so, people are going to be disgruntled about it. They're going to be upset. People are upset about left field and what you could potentially do in left field as the production in left field continues to plummet. Try to say lack thereof. And so this week, it's been dabbled a little bit. We've talked about it. Chat's brought it up. What's the thought process of potentially not just having guys like Brandon Lockridge play left field, platoon with Hayward, or even bringing up Tirso Ornelas? What are the thoughts about moving Jake Cronenworth to left field? Have they ever thought about that? Here's what A.J. Preller had to say.
Not really with Croney. I mean, I think with Tatis and, obviously we've done with Toddy and Jackson and, and others. But I think with Croney, again, for us, the ability to play second base and first base from a defensive standpoint, to see that as a huge positive and big time value for our group and our team. And, having somebody that thinks the game in the middle of the diamond like that, leads to winning. So I think with Croney, again, we've seen some of these infielders have gone to the outfield and played very well. I'm not saying that Croney couldn't do it or anything like that, but I think the value that he brings, in the dirt, just from a defensive standpoint, I think we just, we just feel like that's been something that over the years has never really been, hey, let's run this out to the outfield or anything like that. It's having a real, plus infielder at second base or at first base. I think it's kind of where our mind's gone. And, I think, again, for Shildt and the staff, I think having some consistency in the infield with Croney and Xander up the middle, I think that's where their mind goes in terms of this current roster.
I want to keep it consistent. Again, at this point, try to find solutions to some of the problems. Fans like to do that. We like to do it on talk radio. It's what talk radio is for. Finding solutions to problems. When you do talk radio, sports talk radio, you're a manager. You're trying to play manager, general manager, and owner. Owners making up different rules for the leagues. Always fun to do. Commissioner, here's how I'd say it. Sports talk radio in general is an opportunity for people that really love sports to play commissioner, to play owner, to play general manager, and to play manager. It's what our sports topics usually about. What would you do with the 12-team playoff in college football? That's kind of a commissioner thing, even though college football doesn't have a commissioner. What rules would you apply? How would you schedule things out? I mean, we've had those conversations. Those are evergreen topics throughout the entire year. I'd have 120 MLB games, and I'd have the playoffs start in September, and we'd do this and that. I'd add this amount of teams from an ownership standpoint. I would do XYZ with this organization. General manager standpoint, I'd bring this guy in. I'd make this trade. Manager standpoint, I'd put this guy in this order and this guy in this spot. It's all a discussion. That's what makes sports talk radio fun. But you start to get some insight of where the Padres are thinking, and you go, okay, makes a lot of sense. They don't want to move potentially Jake Cronenworth to the outfield. You don't have to agree with that, but that's where they're coming from. I think everybody can understand that. They like the continuity of Bogaerts and Cronenworth up the middle. Fine. Think it's fine. And again, they're satisfied with where they're at right now in left field, a little bit to an extent, when it comes to what they have. And I don't think they could really make any changes about it until they get to the trade deadline. Because I don't think there's a lot of teams ready to quit yet in Major League Baseball. The National League, very top-heavy, very good, very competitive. The American League, not necessarily record-wise as good as the National League, but a lot of teams are still jammed together, and it's still early enough in the season where a lot of other organizations think that they're still in the race, so it's going to be hard to potentially add from some of those teams. You have what could be a couple of MVP candidates on the team. Manny Machado's done very well. Jackson Merrill looks like he's finally getting out of the little slump that he was in after coming back from a hamstring injury. And of course, there's Fernando Tatis Jr. Now, Fernando has had a rough month of May. He's hit like 200 in the month of May. Not been great. He's had 10 strikeouts and 30 at-bats or whatever it may be over the last couple of weeks. He's been frustrated with what he's been getting in the strike zone. He's already mentioned that he's been, quote, sad about certain things. Not all the time you're going to be happy playing this game. It's like any other day for most people that go about their work. There's going to be days you're fired up to go to work. There might be days where it's miserable going to work. And, you know, even if you have your dream job, you're not always going to be happy, which has been something that I think a lot of Padres fans have noticed about Fernando. Fernando has mentioned it in post-game press conferences. And so they asked A.J. Preller about Tatis's body language. This clip also gives us an update on Yu Darvish, which will lead to our next clip that we want to play. But here's what A.J. had to say about Fernando.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's always the difficult part, especially, you know, with baseball. You know, it's kind of getting into the year and the roller coaster and just such a long season. And there's a lot of failure in the game of baseball. So I think, you know, to me, obviously, when you see somebody have a series or a game or an at-bat, you know, where, you know, you're used to them playing at a super high level and expect them to play and perform all the time, you know, you're always, you know, kind of, you know, your mind goes to, you know, all kinds of different things,
Sure.
et cetera. But I think I think that's all part of it. I think, you know, with Shildt and the staff, they've done a great job of, you know, just kind of being even keeled and understanding, like, hey, when's the time to really push and when's the time to, you know, to kind of, hey, let these guys and their talent and ability in the process kind of let it play out. And, you know, again, I think, you know, for most of the year, Merrill and Toddy and Manny, the three just mentioned, they've been outstanding. So, you know, I think from our standpoint, you know, I think the you know, probably the positive of the last, you know, few weeks or so is, you know, those guys aren't going to be like that all year, you know, in terms of, you know, that means usually some good things are about ready to happen. So, you know, and I think it's constantly conversation with the staff and the players. These guys care a ton about how do we get that and how do we kind of get back to that level quickly. You know, but those guys are, you know, I think they're overall, I think, you know, throughout the year, they're in a good place. And, you know, you know, to me, like, I think that's where our team is built with those guys and that crew. And, you know, I think they're going to come back here and start playing some really good ball. And then in terms of Darvish, yeah, he basically got to the point, maybe the rehab starts, one down in Arizona and one in AAA. Stuff was really good. I mean, he's, you know, throwing the ball 94, 98, I think so. And talking about this, about as good as he's felt from a sharpness of his pitches, secondary stuff was good. But then the ability to kind of bounce back, he's still kind of describing this feeling of some tightness, in the forearm, and then, just kind of coming back where he's able to still play catch, and he's like, yeah, he's still, throwing and playing catch and progressing there, but
Good.
just getting to the point where he's like, hey, I'm ready to go pitch in a big league game, make 80 pitches, and 5 days later, not put the team at a disadvantage, from a bullpen standpoint or from a pitching rotation standpoint. He hasn't gotten to that stage yet. So, it's constant conversation with our medical team. It hasn't been anything new or anything like that that's popped up. It doesn't really feel like a setback or anything there. It's just like him getting to the point. We trust him a ton, to where him and the medical group is like, yeah, he can now not just do it in a rehab setting, but then be able to bounce back the next day and the next day and 5 days later. He hasn't gotten to that point where he's like, yeah, I'm fully equipped to do this. It's more of, let's just keep playing catch, keep throwing all my pitches. And, when we feel like the time's right for him to do that, he'll be back in the rotation.
Some good updates there from AJ Preller, both on Fernando and on Yu Darvish. John 619 in the chat had this to say. I think there's something to this. I was told at a young age that men don't bring their personal life to the office. Sounds easier said than done in today's society. I think it's easier said than done always. And I'll talk a little bit more about that when we come back. We'll also take a look at the 6-man rotation potentially. But, there's a lot of things in that long excerpt from AJ Preller that I find important, both for Fernando Tatis, but also at the same time, some things the Padres are going through now that's going to help them when you need them to be at their best. We'll talk about that when we come back and get back to your phone calls on the Braden Surprenant Show, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. 11:17 on a Friday, Memorial Day weekend. Hopefully, all of you have a safe and fun Memorial Day weekend. We're ready to kick off the grilling. We could go so many different ways with our lunchtime bite down, Frank.
Yeah, we could. I mean, we had a plan that had been immediately nixed the second I got in here.
Yes, because I went to dinner last night. Had a rough experience in terms of one dish in which I was stirred wrong. And I will make this mistake no longer. We'll talk about that in the noon hour. We could have gone with my buddy Crumb and his weird condiment he puts on tacos. That will be...
I think that's the first one back.
First one back?
I think, second one back.
Starts grilling season, though, too. I mean, you could get into some grilling talk, for sure. For sure.
Well, the first one back is your food in Italy.
You know
Second
what?
one back will be that, and then we can start.
About a week ago, we thought this might be like, what else are we going to do with the... You know what? It's the gift that keeps on giving. I can't wait. We have so many packed in. The condiment on the taco from my buddy Crumb is, if I'm a Mexican food place, I'm kicking him out and never letting him back in. In fact, I'm putting his face on a wanted poster and going, you cannot eat here anymore. I can't believe he does this. That is a long tease for 2 weeks.
It's awful. It is the worst.
Not smoking any meat this weekend because I will be in Italy. So, our boy Sushi Sam went to Hardy last night. Had a good time. The Quezon people were talking about what a great of a show it was. Maybe next time. I do want to get to your phone calls, and I do want to chime in on some of the things that I got as a takeaway from AJ Preller on with Ben and Woods. Sam did go to PB last night, age 28. That is nasty work, dude. You're too old for PB. Once you turn about 26, it's over. That's a different topic for a different day. That's not a food topic. That's like a going out topic. If you're 26 or older and you're still going out to PB, I'm sorry, dude. You got to close the yearbook. You got to hang it up. That is a young man's game. Pacific Beach. Too old for PB. North PB, maybe. Crown Point area, if you want to go to Rocky's Crown Pub, okay. There's some dive bars over there. But in general, PB, dude, if you're 26, it's like you're like an 80-year-old man walking in there. I'm just saying. The locals know. Not going to PB anymore. If you go there during the day, on the weekend, because they do a lot of college football watch parties, it's fine. Once the sun goes down, dude, and you're not 25 or younger, it's time to get out. You go to downtown, go to North Park, Encinitas. It's a lot of good other places for older people to hang out.
Just saw the Botanical Gardens are getting a $10 million makeover in Balboa, so that's somewhere you could go.
You can get Craft Taco out there at Balboa.
There you go.
They're at the Natural History Museum. I went there a couple weeks ago. So good. You went in Sereno Valley over here? Money. PB, not for you.
We would hate getting free tacos for lunch. We would hate that so much.
You missed out, Frank. They hooked us up a couple weeks ago, and everything that I ate.
Please don't do it again.
Everything that I ate from Craft Taco was amazing. It was all amazing. They treated us well. Eddie does a great job over there at Craft Taco. Sereno Valley, kind of hidden. But when you go, it's great. Anyway, 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. As somebody in the chat said, it's time to get fired up. And who better than our resident listener, Brandon in Carlsbad. Brandon, what's going on, man?
Oh, Braden, let's go. Let's get it fired up. Hey, listen, I'm going to hit the ground running, you guys. I'm a strength and conditioning specialist, okay?
I can tell by your
pro athletes
attitude.
across the board.
Fired up. Keep it. Sorry. Continue.
So here's what I'm getting at, you guys. I work with pro surfers, skaters, snowboarders, MMA, boxing, bare knuckle boxing, NFL, NBA. As a strength coach, I've walked shoulder to shoulder with my athletes through the darkest hours. And the champions and the best will find a way to break through the slump and the mold. Yeah, I said Slumpy Dumpty was on the wall and he's going to have a great fall. Well, it wasn't this past series. But I'll tell you right now, shout out to a guy out of Carlsbad, UFC veteran, Joey Beltran, the Mexicutioner. Amazing UFC career. Went into bare knuckle boxing. All he ever wanted was a belt. I watched him fight through all kinds of stuff. He came out reigning, defending heavyweight bare knuckle boxing, the BKFC world champion. I've watched other athletes blow out their knees, their backs, going through turmoil. Now, I know we're talking team sports here, but this is the team that has the personnel. It has the management. I know. I've been there. I've been a cornerman. I've traveled the world. I know the psyche. I believe we still have it. Yeah, let's get frustrated because, as Tyson said, everyone's got a plan until they get socked in the mouth. But sometimes you also got to get socked in the mouth. So hopefully this is it, because we can't be walking through Atlanta like we've changed things. And I do believe there's some changes in the lineup, obviously left field. But you know what? Until that happens, and until you're called to be a GM or manager of a baseball team, it's just hot air at that point. I am a coach. I've walked the battles with athletes. Holler at me, Glade Pro. It's on Instagram. You guys will see it. I love you, Braden. God bless. Let's go, Padres.
Brandon gets me fired up on a Friday. There's so many people in the chat. Brandon just got ignited. Fire emojis everywhere. People are stoked. Nate Taylor. This guy's just crushing Red Bulls, dude. It's like Dana Holgerson when he coached at West Virginia. Just chug Red Bull, crush it against his noggin, throw it on the ground, get ready to go, get psyched on a Friday. Let's go. Brandon gets you fired up, man. We got a couple callers to get you fired up. Brandon's one of them. We got an East Coast version in Joe, New Jersey. I'm sure right now it's got to be tough for Joe. I mean, this is it's rough watching this team. But I tell you right now, he's right. I mean, they're going to go through some trials and tribulations. I'm also a coach. You have to deal with the human side of things sometimes. And sometimes you're not always firing on all cylinders. Sometimes you got different things going on in your life as you try to get ready to go get the job done, whether it be in sports or just in any job that you do. And you look at, some of the things that people have to go through. I mean, for me, it's mostly like teenager breakups are usually like the biggest problem for some of my athletes. And you try to tell them to check that stuff at the door as you come on the field and try to make it as an out. It's hard to do. It's hard to just clock out everything that's going on in your life so you can clock into your job or clock into your team. And right now, the Padres got some guys going through that. But as A.J. Preller mentioned, with Ben and Woods, they're not going to play like this the entire year. They're not expecting these guys to be in this kind of slump the entire year. That's the fact of the matter. Fact of the matter. I don't think anybody that has been negative about the team expects that either, even though it's easy to be negative right now when they lose 6 straight games. But the good thing about baseball is you get to flip it the next day. You don't have to sit on it for a week like you have to do in football or a couple of days like you have to do in basketball. And some of the other things that were mentioned, I agree with. Some of the best teams that go on to win World Series or go on to win Super Bowls or go on to win the NBA Finals or whatever sport you think, go through some sort of level of adversity that they have to make it through. And to be honest with you, I'd rather have my team go through some of that than have to deal it for the first time in the postseason. I think you see that with what the Dodgers did for the last 10 years. I mean, they just coasted through a season, and the first time they got punched in the mouth was in the postseason, and they folded like a lawn chair every single time. Last year was a little bit different. They didn't do that same thing. They actually got punched in the mouth, and they ended up resurrecting and getting a and getting a World Series. I mean, I think the Padres could be said the same. I'd rather have them go through this stuff now, learn how to win, learn how to flip the script. So when these things happen in the postseason, there's no time of panic. There's more time of, we got to get going. We know how to do it. We've been through this before, and we know how to flip the script. We know how to flip the switch. We know how to overcome things that aren't going our way. Have it happen in May. You'll see this team be battle tested, and it's going to pay dividends later in the year. It happens so many times in sports. And I think it's going to happen, even especially with the team that's led by a guy like Mike Shildt that has always had second half good years, good second halves. If that call can get you fired up, I don't know what will on a Friday. That was awesome. We appreciate Brandon in Carlsbad who joins our show and gives us a little pep talk every once in a while. Love it. 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. We got the update from you, Darvish. It's expected that he should be back sooner rather than later. What's going on with the rotation if and when he does come back? AJ Preller answered that question on Ben and Woods. We'll get to that when we come back on the Braden Surprenant Show on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. 11:34 on a Friday, getting you ready for Memorial Day weekend. Padres is in Braves this weekend in Atlanta before the Padres come back and take on the Fish Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. No off day after an East Coast trip back, but they will play later on Memorial Day. We are off on Memorial Day. I will not be here the following week or after that before people freak out when I'm not on the show. Frank will be doing some stuff with Gwen and Chris. We got people on vacation mixing and matching. But the good news is Adam Klug does a great job of a lot of different things. One, he allows us to go and have time off, which is phenomenal. And on top of that, he keeps everything local. So we're going to have local programming over the next 2 weeks. It won't be me for a while. And then I'm going to be back with Frank when I come back from Italy on this trip for my mom who really wanted to be with her kids in Italy on a family trip. So planned a long time ago. We leave tomorrow morning. So that will be that. And again, a little bit of a rest and relaxation. I will be continuing to give takes and updates for the Padres on social media. So please follow me on social media, B_SURP, B_SURP, at BSURP. We will have all the coverage for you and all my takes on social media as we get through these next couple of weeks. And we'll have Matt Scraby will fill in a couple times. We'll have some Best of Bennett Woods. I mean, there's a lot of moving parts over the next couple of weeks here when people are going on vacations and coming back, but it will all be local all the time, which is the best part. And that's what I love about this station the most. We're local all day long in many different facets. 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. We're going to get to the clip of A.J. Preller talking about the six-man rotation in just a second. But first, Hal in Carlsbad has a take on the left field situation and potentially a solution. Hal, what's going on, man?
Hey, Braden, how you doing?
I'm doing well. What do you got for me today?
First, enjoy your trip.
Thank you.
Secondly, my call today was really because I was listening yesterday, and Leo DeVries now is kind of moved up in the the major league rankings. I heard he was number 3 overall, and power potential has gone up to say 25 to 30 home runs a year, and I think that this left field solution is pretty simple. I mean, you've got Bogarts. He's not going anywhere. He's signed for another 7 or 8 years. Why don't they start playing DeVries in left field now? So if he's ready next year, you've got hopefully another Merrill situation, and then you've got an outfield that is, kind of locked in for the next 5, 6, 7 years with DeVries in left, Merrill in center, and Tatis in right. Your infield's pretty stable. And it solves a problem that everybody's been talking about every single day. And we know there's going to be no solution that's going to really be a permanent solution or a long-term solution this year at the trading deadline or anywhere else.
Well, you bring up a lot of good points, Hal. And the thing is and a lot of it's good. I like what you're thinking. But there's a couple things like after I think that's a very much a now solution more than a long-term solution, and here's why. A couple of things with Leo. He hasn't played well defensively at shortstop in Double-A or in High A. Sorry, in High A, he's got a .906 fielding percentage right now at shortstop in High A. He makes a lot of errors, but he's 18 years old. He should be playing high school baseball right now, theoretically, compared to a lot of these draft picks coming up. Baseball Reference has an age difference stat, which what it does is it compares the age of the player to that of the weighted average of all the players in the league. It's weighted on a sense that position players and pitchers are different on the age. So in comparison to all the position players in High A, he's on average younger than the entire High A league by 4.3 years. I mean, we're talking about a kid that should be playing some, high school baseball playoffs, in terms of his age right now, playing in High A ball in Fort Wayne and doing a tremendous job offensively. So from that perspective, I think you got to give him some time to be able to play defense. And the other thing too with Leo, and again, just to clarify, Hal didn't say like pull him up tomorrow. He said start getting him reps in the outfield, and then when he's ready to come up, then you have an outfield that's locked in for the next 5, 6, 7 years. But he's not ready yet until he passes the AA test, which he hasn't even been pulled up to yet. He's still probably a couple of years away, probably as early as next end of the season. But the thing is, and you mentioned Xander Bogaerts at shortstop. Totally understand. But even though Xander Bogaerts is under contract for a long time, he's not a shortstop for probably more than, I would say, the max amount of years that Xander will play shortstop for the Padres is 3, including this year. I think he's got maybe a max of 2 more years at shortstop. Max. Which means I think he'll probably move to a different position before the next 2 years. And so you need a solution at shortstop. I think Leo is the future shortstop of the Padres. That's not to say they won't move him somewhere else. But if you move Leo to left field and you get you locked in outfield, which is not a bad idea. Shortstops are athletes everywhere. But if you have him in left field, now what's your shortstop solution in the next couple of years? Because I don't think the Padres are in play right now to potentially sign an upcoming free agent. We'll talk about the top 50 free agents that are available at the end of the season. But I don't know why you would spend a lot of money on some of those guys. Yeah, maybe go get C.J. Abrams back. You'll sign him as a free agent. Still cost you a lot of money. I'm just throwing it out there. But again, I like where your head's at. I understand where it's coming from. But at the same time, I don't see it really being a long-term solution. But I don't mind the call. 833-288-0973. 833-288-0973. We need to get to the sports thread, but I do want to play this. They gave an update, AJ Preller did, on Ben and Woods about Yu Darvish and what the latest is. If and when Yu Darvish comes back, what is the rotation going to look like? No, you don't have it. That's fine.
Yeah, I mean, we've done it both ways. A few years ago, we did it pretty successfully with the 6-man, and we've had different periods where we've gone there. I think it's just kind of looking at your roster and personnel. I think the good part is that so far, the way Kolek and Vasquez have thrown, they kind of at least start that conversation where you can consider that, where you're looking up and, when Darvish comes back, you've got at least 6 that you feel good about. And then it's a conversation with Shildt, Rubin, the front office group that's just kind of talking about what's best for the Padres during that stretch. And, we've done it both ways where you kind of have the extended bullpen, or you have a long man, you have a really good option in AAA, or, no, this is the best way to handle competition is to go to the 6-man. I think the good part is, Randy and Steven they've pitched well and they're progressing, and at least gives us the opportunity to have that conversation.
Yeah, I think there is going to be a conversation about it because you put a lot of effort and time into Kolek being a starting pitcher. You don't want to move him to the bullpen and lose all your momentum on that. You still need pitchers for the future. There's no guarantee you bring back King or Cease, even though I think the Padres will sign one of those guys back, most favoring Michael King. But you don't have a lot of solutions in the future for starting pitching, and you kind of need those guys to continue to get starting pitching reps and log innings. So that might be the solution when and if Yu Darvish comes back. Lots going on in the sports world. Frank has prepared a great sports thread. Let's get to it.
You know that group chat? The one that's always blowing up with the biggest sports takes, debates, and breaking news?
You got barbecue back there, and you didn't invite me?
Yeah, we've got that too. Welcome to the Sports Thread, where we break down the top 5 stories in sports, just like you would with your crew.
Oh, no! Disaster! What a bad idea!
No filters, no silence, just real talk.
All right, Mike Swing. Frank Marchese, what's going on?
There you go.
Number 1.
All righty. So, First up, Major League Baseball. Darren Ruff played for the Phillies, Giants, and the Mets in his Major League career, but it was on June 2nd, 2023, when he was playing with the Milwaukee Brewers, that his career came to an abrupt end. During the third inning of a game in Cincinnati against the Reds, Ruff was chasing down a foul ball when he ran knee first into the edge of the tarp roller. Not the tarp, the metal tarp roller.
Ouch.
Ruff was immediately taken out of the game, and that was it. Career over. Ruff is now suing the Cincinnati Reds for damages, stating, quote, players should not have to worry about hidden hazards like that on a major league field. Ruff states he suffered, quote, permanent and substantial deformities to his knee. The Reds have not reached out for comment. Does Ruff have a case here?
I think he does. It's Major League Baseball. You know, Major League Baseball should not have hazards on the field. They should all be protected. I mean, you got to protect your product. So I think he's got a legitimate gripe. I mean, if it ended his career as well, I think that's also a legitimate gripe to have, even though he was older in his career when this happened. I just think there should be hazards out there. I mean, you got to protect the players on the field as much as you can.
Yeah, that's just awful for a way to end a career. Like, most players don't choose how they have their career end, but that's got to be one of the worst twists of fate to ever have a career end that way. That's just awful.
Mm-hmm. Number 2.
After getting dropped from the Stanley Cup playoffs again, the Toronto Maple Leafs are making moves in the front office to try to get over that hump. The former Detroit Red Wings Hall of Fame player, Brendan Shanahan, has been their team president for 11 years and the architect behind the roster you see the Leafs with now. I say was because the Leafs have announced that Shanahan will not return as team principal. This comes along with the announcement that my New York Islanders have been given permission to speak with Shanahan after Lou Lamoriello was relieved of the same role with New York. We saw the Kings do this with Rob Blake earlier this month. Same situation where making it doesn't outweigh the results anymore.
I guess. I just think people are quick to potentially part ways with certain individuals, and always think the grass is greener. It's not always greener sometimes.
Yep, absolutely.
Number 3.
All right, these next two stories kind of coincide with each other. The Boston Celtics may have a change in the ranks of ownership in the near future. I apologize for butchering this name. Aditya Mittal, the CEO of ArcelorMittal and a member of India's wealthiest family, or one of India's wealthiest families, has agreed to invest $1 billion into a group purchase of the Boston Celtics. If approved, Mittal will become the second largest stakeholder within the organization behind William Chisholm, who bought the team for a record-setting $6.1 billion back in March. Chisholm is expected to take over as the team governor in 2027-28. Is this something that Celtics fans should be excited about?
Having another owner in the team?
Well, another billionaire who's willing to shove a ton of money into the organization.
Well, from a standpoint of how we know things work with these ownership groups that are collective, when you do the cash calls and everybody's got to invest the same amount of money when you make roster decisions, I think you would be excited for that. They do have rules, though, in place in the NBA that is like a salary cap that might hamper that. But, yeah, why not? I mean, you want your owner to be rich, and you want him to want to win and not try to price gouge, because it's their only way of income. So from that perspective, yes, I think you should be excited if you're a Celtics fan, because it's not like the Pirates or the Bengals or the Angels or I digress.
Down the line. Chargers.
Number 4.
This is where the overarching question comes in.
All right.
The other side to this story. On Wednesday, Indianapolis Colts owner Jim Irsay passed away, and the family did not debate too long on who would be his successor. Irsay's eldest daughter, Carly Irsay Gordon, will take over the organization effective immediately. Irsay Gordon is viewed among family as, quote, the most involved in team operations and will serve as the chief decision maker for the Colts. and has held a share of the team along with her two sisters since 2012. Which would you rather have? A team that is family owned or individually owned, or a team that is owned by businesses and corporate conglomerates?
Howard, what type of teams are owned by corporate conglomerates? Would you consider the Celtics that?
Well, yeah, it's an ownership group. Okay, so
you'd rather
an
have a
ownership group. Would you
or
rather
one
have a group
family?
or a family? Yes.
I'd rather have a group.
Really?
Yeah, I'd rather have a group because usually the groups, that's not their only source of income. They'll have their own sources of income in which they can live off of. And then this is just kind of a fun toy. I think it also depends on the family too. I mean, think about a lot of the families in the NFL, and think about how good they are. I mean, the Chargers are a disaster. The Bengals are a disaster. You look at other teams like the Steelers, who had been very good but are slowly becoming not that great. I mean, think about the teams that are family owned. I mean, there's a handful that are good and across a lot of different sports, but most of the time, you're more likely to have your team be a circus when it's run by a family than you do when you have a couple of business people running the business that also have other sources of income. So from that perspective, I think it depends on the family, but I would rather have a couple of different business people own the team than just one singular family. Here with the Padres, they got a lot of different people part of their ownership group. And I think the checks and balances help you be successful instead of just one family owning the team.
And that is absolutely a fair point. My concern would be I get the ownership group that doesn't care about the team and it's just like, okay, here's making extra money
you don't
on
want
the
a
side.
hedge fund.
Yeah, exactly.
Deal.
That would be my biggest concern about a group of people.
Number 5.
All right, as we anticipated last week, college football will be making a change to the playoff format and be going to the straight seeding model for this year. This means that the first round bye is gone for conference winners. The committee states that the change maintains the reward for conference championships, but would also, quote, allow us to construct a postseason bracket that recognizes the best performance on the field during the entire regular season. This, however, doesn't mean that the first round byes are gone because the top 4 in the college football rankings will get those byes. I get that seeing a 1 beat a 12 every single year is boring. But why would you not just get rid of the byes if you're just going to go straight seeding?
Well, you have to have byes, otherwise the bracket doesn't work out. You know what I'm saying? Like you have to have an even
two more
number.
Games.
Yeah, but it's still 12 teams.
Yeah,
you have to have byes.
So number 1 gets a
play-in
bye.
games.
So number 1 gets
3,
a bye.
And 4 get theoretically byes. It's a numbers thing. If you're gonna, when you have like an odd number of teams,
well, then that just means more teams into the playoff. Then,
yeah. Well, you know what? I've already had this debate multiple times with multiple people. 24 teams is the perfect number for a college football playoff. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. I will debate anybody on this. It's 24. It's so simple. It's such a simple solution that the FCS has it, and they've been doing it for years. I don't think you need to get crazy like Mike Leach and go 64 teams. But like to say like 12 and 6, make it 24. There's 10 conferences in college football. Let all the champions make the tournament.
Mm-hmm.
You can
100%.
even have the power conferences have automatic qualifiers and go 4 for the SEC and 4 for the Big Ten. You can go 2 for the Big 12 and the ACC. 4, 8, 10, 12. That's 12 of the 24. Then you have the other 6 conferences get teams. There's 6 left, 6 at large. Make it happen. It's not hard. It's not rocket science.
Nope.
It's sports. It's too many teams. Well,
Stop.
24 divided by 134 is 18%. It'd be 18% of college football. We'll talk about this more when we come back on the Braden Surprenant Show, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
From the beaches to the ballparks, from the gas lamp to North County, no one knows America's finest city like he does.
You can't just punt on a Manny Machado prime use.
He's a fourth-generation San Diegan, born and raised in the heart of this community. Passionate, opinionated, and always bringing you the real talk on your teams, your city, and everything in between.
Braden totally knows his stuff. He's ready for the next step. That guy is good.
Live and local, it's the Braden Surprenant Show.
But I think Braden's one of the up-and-coming young stars in the media game in San Diego.
Now, here's your host, Braden Surprenant.
Lunchtime hour on 97.3 The Fan. Are we talking hot dogs now, Frank?
God, yes, we're talking hot dogs right now.
Oh, my God. Frank is geeking out. You didn't see that earlier in the week?
No,
Like
I knew
the
it.
teasing about
No, I
it?
knew it was coming.
Oh, my
I
God.
100% knew it was coming.
The European mind cannot comprehend.
Oh, it cannot.
The Oscar Mayer Wiener race.
The Weenie 500.
The Weenie 500. Is that what they called it? Did
That
they
is what
actually?
it's called, yes.
Did they go 500 miles?
No, God, no.
That'd been awesome.
I think
Could
they
you
did, like,
imagine a pit change?
I think they did like 2 laps.
That is hilarious. Did they even distinguish the different
I don't know.
wieners?
I don't know. It looks like they might have done something with it, but I don't know. We got to play this audio. We have to.
Are you ready for it?
It's so good.
All right, so here's the context. It is the Indianapolis 500 this weekend, correct?
Yes, it is.
As well as the Monaco.
Yes, Monaco Grand Prix in the morning, Indy 500 in the afternoon, and then the Coke 600 at night.
All on Sunday.
Yep.
Is the Coke 600 at Brickyard too?
No, it's at Charlotte.
Oh, it's in Charlotte. Okay, so you have NASCAR at night, you have IndyCar during the day, and you have Monaco
NASCAR.
Formula One in the morning.
Yes.
Okay. And with the Indianapolis 500, a big sponsor this year is Oscar Mayer. We all know about the Oscar Mayer Wiener and the Wienermobile, a little hot dog thing rolling around. I've seen it in San Diego a handful of times.
There's more than one, apparently.
And there's 7 of them. 6. I only see 6 in that thing. Well, at least 6 that raced. So today, this is today?
Yes, it was.
So earlier today in Indianapolis, they decided to race. How many laps? A couple laps?
Yeah, a couple.
A couple laps of the Oscar Mayer Wiener mobiles. There's 6 of them that ended up racing. And here is how the race went.
Hot on their tail. Rounding 3 and into 4. This certainly is not over. We saw it last lap, guys. There's plenty of time for a late pass here off of the last corner. No ifs, ands, or buns about it. This one is going to go down to the line.
Our pole sitter, Cheat Dog, has a 2 to 3 bun advantage over the car behind.
Sunday will be the 109th running of the Indy 500, but the first Weenie 500. And if you know one thing about Indy on the last lap, it's a dog-eat-dog world as they round the track for the final time.
Chidog still in the lead.
But looks like maybe a great run off of turn 2 here. Oh, I think we might be having a race to the line.
Mustard Maddie closing with the Slaw Dog. Can she top off the
The
Weenie
Slaw
500 with a late pass on the Chidog? Less than a quarter mile to go at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway for the inaugural Weenie 500.
These hot dogs are hot rodding it down the front straight, T-Bell. They're coming at us now.
Maxed out at a whopping 60 miles an hour.
Get past the freeway.
Townsend.
They're closing. Second place is closing with the run.
Can the fans cheer them across the line? It's going to be close.
They're making the move. Slaw Dog making the move up the inside on the way to the yard of bricks and over the line. It looks like it's going to be the Slaw Dog by a nose. Slaw Dog wins.
What a
In the
finish.
closest
What a
finish in Weenie 500 history, Slaw Dog by a nose.
Unbelievable.
And unfortunately, due to copyright issues, we could not show that on stream, but we will be reposting it on our show Twitter account.
The amount of hot dog memes, or should I say dad jokes as part of that broadcast. Oh my God. How much prep do you think they did? Do you think that was off the cuff?
Oh, absolutely. You
No
can't.
ifs, ands, or buns about it.
Just like we had with Dan Schulman on earlier this week. You can't prepare for moments like that. It's just gotta happen.
Speaking of, go Aztecs. Can we talk about the elephant in the room? Who is the MLB Central producer in our chat? After you interviewed Rick Riz and Dan Schulman, they were both on MLB Central the day after. Are you working two shifts at once right now, Frank? Are you the producer for MLB Central? Thanks for listening.
You've seen every email I've sent, so I would have mentioned something about it, would I not?
I can't. What are the odds of that?
That's insane.
That is insane. Maybe they'll listen to our interviews. Oh, that sounded pretty good. Let's get this guy on the air for no reason.
It is up on our Twitter page, B_Serp show, if you want to see the 2 minutes of audio that we just played.
Of the hot dog race. Did you have the last thing anybody needs? There's a slippery wing.
I will
from Sicko's committee. Awful announcing.
I will grab it right now. Hold on.
So phenomenal. So phenomenal. The puns were just insane.
Totally necessary, though. Here we go.
Yeah, the
this is Will Buxton, former Formula One guy, as a matter of fact. Hold on 1 second. Great radio here. Here we go.
Down the backstretch, they spread out 3 wide, and now the draft is really starting to factor into things.
And how fast dare they take it into turn 3? The last thing anybody needs through there is a slippery wiener.
Classic. The puns, or should I say the buns, top notch today. We need that sounder so bad.
Hold on. I think I may have actually fit.
Yes! The wiener race on a Friday. They're the lunchtime hour. What a better time than now.
A noon shift from Scuff, Ben, and Woods here on 97.3 The Fan.
We were going to talk about college football, but we talked about hot dogs instead. 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. Scott and RB, you're on the Braden Surprenant Show. What's going on, man? Scott, you got run off by the hot dogs, huh? Scott, you there? Scott is not there. Later, dude. Mike in Chula Vista, you're on the Braden Surprenant Show. What's going on, Mike?
Yeah, maybe Scott didn't want to talk about the Padres. Let's talk about the real elephant in the room. What the hell is going on with this 7-game skid, guys? I mean, seriously, the starting pitching, we should at least went 5-2, at the very least 4-3 in that skid. What is going on with the offense? It's the same offense of lineup every night. Why is Shildt not mixing it up a little bit? For 5 games, we scored 4 runs, I think it was. Good teams do not do this. I'm sorry, they just don't. 7 games in a row? No way.
Well, they're not 7 yet. Mike must be from the future. It's 6. Only 6 games. Good teams do, in fact, lose 6 games in a row. It's happened before. There's been a lot of good teams that have lost 6 in a row throughout their history. But he is right. I mean, they need to hit better. I wouldn't mind mixing up the order just a little bit. But that being said, has Mike Shildt done anything to stir you wrong so far as the manager of the Padres? Bradley, he's not. And until that point, it's going to be like that. It's okay for teams to go into slumps. Good teams do lose 6 in a row every once in a while. But you know what? As mentioned, he kept saying 7. Maybe you got to put money on the Braves money line tonight. Maybe he knows something that we don't know. Trav Gundy in the chat. Now we're going to lose tonight thanks to this guy. Dang it. I definitely got to shave the mustache. Keep it going. Flip the script a little bit. 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. He's right, though. I mean, the offense does need to be better. I mean, he's everything he mentioned from that perspective is true. I wouldn't mind mixing up the order just a little bit. I've already said what my order would be multiple times. But I don't think. But the thing is like mixing it up. Now you're trying to tweak a little bit, just to try to see what gets the spark. You're doing it for a spark more than anything else. I mean, you could change the lineup every single day and never have good results. It's the way it is sometimes in Major League Baseball. I was thrown off by the wiener race at this point. I mean, it's thrown me off of what we were going to talk about. We only have 2 minutes here.
We had a plan. It was all good. And then Oscar Mayer wiener race.
Yes. We had a plan. Gave you the plan. Had a plan. Gave you the plan. Got to the time to execute said plan. Threw the plan away. The college football talk.
We pushed the plan back to the next segment. That's all we did.
Went to dinner last night. My friend's in town. She likes getting Italian food. I made a fatal mistake. We'll go a little bit longer in this segment. We'll talk about this. This was our plan for this lunchtime hour was not going to be hot dogs. In fact, it was going to be the weird condiment that my buddy Crumb puts on carne asada tacos. That will be after I get back from Italy. At some point, this guy should be banned from everywhere that has Mexican food.
We can't let that one slide.
Oh, no, that's a foul. I'd give him a foul right now, matter of fact.
He draws the foul.
It's a foul on Crumb. It should be a tech, to be honest with you. It's a flagrant one. That was going to be today's topic. We got into the wiener race. We've talked about, you could talk about grilling this weekend. Hopefully a lot of you go out there and get some grilling done. It's a kickoff to grilling season, if you will, Memorial Day weekend. Kind of the kickoff to the summer, in reality. But last night went to Buena Forchetta. Went to the one over in Liberty Station. It's not bad. Now, Frank, you and I are both Italian. So there's only so many places that you can go where it's like, this is better than home, which is fair. Now, that being said, I enjoy Buena Forchetta. I think it's pretty good. They have a bunch of Italians running the place. You can tell when they talk to them. And so I usually get you can get like a burrata caprese. Super good. Usually get that as an appetizer. And when you go with kind of a group, we like doing it a little family style. So a little bit of this, a little bit of that. Couple of pastas and a pizza you split all together. Last night I had eaten before a little bit, so I didn't want to go too ham on that. So we went with the burrata caprese. Always out of the park. And now I like to pick pastas that I can't make at home, right? Because that's the whole point of a restaurant. Let me do something I can't make myself at home or spend a lot of time to make. Carbonara is pretty good. Pasta stapioharta. I'm not a big fan of angel hair or spaghetti. So with the pappardelle, with the carbonara, easy, hit it out of the park. Now, that being said, I like gnocchi. I like mixing in a gnocchi. And I usually get the gnocchi with the Buena Forchetta sauce. But I like to ask the waiter/waitress when I go to these, what pasta do you like paired with what sauce? And I've gotten a different answer every single time for each one. And so I decided to take the advice of our waitress last night when I asked about the gnocchi. What type of sauce would you go? She went pesto or bolognese. Wasn't in a pesto mood. I feel like you got to be in a pesto mood, Frank. Wasn't in a pesto mood, but I was against the bolognese. Wasn't really feeling it. I don't like having the red sauce. That's not mine. So then I went out and I took the advice, and I got the gnocchi with the bolognese. Honestly, I thought it tasted like Chef Boyardee, dude. It was like I couldn't handle it. I was like, this is not up to par. It's not my deal. What is your red sauce take as an Italian, Frank?
No, I agree. It's homemade red sauce unless you have to have it out.
I will never make that mistake. I know better. I know what to order. I decided to listen and I got burned. And you know what? Now I will not do that again. I know the red sauce is better at home. There's a lot of places like that. There's only a select few places that I believe I can tolerate in terms of Italian food. How many of those places do you have, Frank? You don't have to name names, but just in
A
general.
very limited few. Mona Lisa's is definitely top of that list. Very,
Mona
very
Lisa's is great. Absolutely.
I can't remember the last time I went out to eat.
Yeah. I'm getting criticism on the Italian pronunciation. Dude, I don't speak Italian. I know a lot of the different words in Italian. Not all of them off the top of my head.
None of them of which you could say on air.
Oh, that's a
the joke.
fact. That's a fact. I mean, you can say ricotta as many times as you want. People are still gonna. It's not ricotta. It's ricotta.
Thank you.
But even then, people are like, it's not officially. It's not that. Whatever, dude. Put the fries in the bag, bro. Put the fries in the bag. I'm 50% Sicilian, dude. I don't know. I don't speak Italian. Maybe when I come back, I'll just know Italian. I just do the entire show in Italian.
That's how that happens.
Exactly. Just bang. I got a lot of friends that are Mexican that don't speak Spanish. I should French Canadian. I don't speak French. I could say my last name in French. Surprenant means surprising. But I don't. Come on. Insane. 833-288-0973. 833-288-0973. We're going to get into this college football conversation. The Power 4 document. This is like something you'll learn about in a history book one day. We'll talk about that when we come back. We'll get your phone calls as well. And coming up at 12:30, before we get to the midday sports standoff, top 50 free agent options in 2025. Now's a good time for you guys to play general manager. We'll do that at 12:30. We'll get you updates on USD and Gonzaga. USD baseball is playing in an elimination game against Gonzaga. They're in the top of the first inning in Vegas. We'll get you an update on that when we come back as well on the Braden Surprenant Show, standing as number one sports station, 97 through the Fan. 12:23. Getting into the Italian food talk on the chat a little bit. We're gonna get to one in Oceanside here in a second. Got a couple other wrecks in there. The one of them was at Barbusa. I haven't been to Barbusa yet. I need to check out Barbusa because the Busalaki family owns that place. And Gianluca Busalaki is one of the receivers that I coach at Cathedral. Now, I'm a defensive back coach, but Gianluca was our receiver on JV last year. His twin sister was our manager. Good family. And they run Barbusa. And I got to go check it out. I haven't been there yet. My family has. They love it. I haven't been to Barbusa. But, and I also forgot. I forgot when I mentioned it on Monday or Tuesday about Cathedral's 4x1 team. I was blanking on the last name. It was Gianluca. Gianluca Busalaki is part of the 4x1. They will be racing, I think, tomorrow in the regional to try to qualify for state. Aiden Smith, McGlynn, Parker Johnson, Honor Falave, Gianluca Busalaki. The 4x1 for the Dons. Set a school record and won CIF last weekend. And we'll try to do it in the regional, I think, coming up this weekend. I'll find out more. We have our spring game today that they will probably not be participating in due to track. So hopefully they do a good job. Shout out to them. I told Gianluca I'd give him a shout out. Perfect segue. People are talking about his family's restaurant. Even better. 833-288-0973. 833-288-0973. Juan in Oceanside. You're on the Braden Surprenant Show. What's going on, man?
Hey, what's up, Braden? You're making me hungry for some Italian food. I might end up going to Mona Lisa.
Yeah, get yourself a sandwich down there, man. Take a number. If you don't take a number, you get passed by the little Italian ladies.
Yeah, that's true. It's happened to me before. So,
what do you got today, Juan?
The reason I called today was because I was scrolling through Instagram this morning while I was getting ready for work, and I follow this content creator by the name of Kate Maniscalco. She runs a page called Baseball for Baddies. I'm not sure if you've heard of it.
I have not. Frank has.
Okay. She just basically tries to break down very simple things for non-baseball fans, just so they can kind of get into the sport. But she did bring up the Padres this morning, and she kind of compared them to last season's Yankee team with Juan Soto and Aaron Judge, where they also went through a stretch where their offense just wasn't scoring aside from Aaron Judge and Juan Soto, and their defense was really sloppy, which our defense has as well. She pointed out that we're -1 in runs saved. And she also pointed out that Manny Machado is tied for worst in 9 errors. And I just kind of want to get your thoughts on if they're comparable, both teams, Yankees and Padres. Yeah, last year's Yankees team to this year's Padres team, and if there's anything that can be fixed on the defensive end, because I know we've talked a lot about the offense. Defensively, we have been sloppy. I think Cronenworth is like second or third worst amongst qualified second basemen. And, Xander's been fine, all things considered, but I guess I just want to get your takes.
Yeah, I mean, from a defensive standpoint, I still think despite the defense that the Padres have played, it's still better than what the Yankees were last year because the Yankees were awful. Very uncharacteristic how many errors that Manny Machado has made this season. But you mentioned again, and we were getting flack for that earlier in the show in the YouTube chat about, our comments about Jake Cronenworth's defensive ability. But statistically, he's not one of the better defensive second basemen in Major League Baseball. He's just not. That's just from a stat standpoint. I still think he's good enough to play defense for the Padres. I just think from an offensive standpoint, they're in a little bit of a slump. I don't think, I don't think their defense is that bad. I understand the comparisons, but I think they'll come out of it on both sides, on both defense and on offense. And again, I don't think that defensively they're as bad as what last year was for the Yankees. 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. When we come back, we need a contestant for a midday sports standoff. If you could take me down in some sports trivia, you would be entered for an opportunity to win a trip to Vegas and see Bruno Mars. 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. We will do that when we come back. We will also dive in a little bit into some of the top free agents available for next year in 2025. Still got to get to that college football stuff that we've punted on the last couple of times. We'll get to that later as well. But that's coming up next on the Braden Surprenant Show on San Jose Sports Station 97 through the Fan. Eliminate termite Eliminate termite inspects, treats, and repairs termite damage, all with a full structural warranty. Our orange oil treatment is safe for people, pets, and the planet. No tent, no move out. Protect your home naturally. Schedule a free inspection at eliminatetermite.com. You know, they say don't drink coffee when you're on the air. It gives you cotton mouth. Yep, it does do that. Do I heed by the warnings? No, I do not. I do what I want. I drink coffee. I like a cup of Joe in the morning. I drink black coffee now. And sometimes the black coffee makes you... I do have water too. But coffee counts as water as well because it's water. Anyway, I digress from the coffee standpoint. USD has a 2-0 lead on Gonzaga. Runners on second and third, 2 outs, bottom of the first inning. East Lake Titan, Nico Libid at the plate with a 2-1 count. That is your USD West Coast Conference tournament update. USD needs the win to keep their season alive. With a win earlier today, they will play the loser of St. Mary's and LMU later on tonight, which they'll have to win that game. And then they would have to beat the winner of that game before twice over the weekend. So they got to win 4 games here in the next couple of days to make the NCAA tournament. San Diego State has to do the exact same thing. What was our latest update on the Aztecs, Frank? Do we remember?
I think it was 2-1 San Jose. I'll check again here real quick.
I'm pulling up my handy-dandy Warren Nolan website that is great for college athletics. Everything updates automatically and in real time. It's phenomenal. In the Mountain West, it's a 3-1 lead for San Jose State, top of the 5th. Aztecs need a win to keep their season alive. Nico Libid walks. It brings up Aiden Howard for the Toreros. That's your latest update. We'll try to update you as the afternoon progresses here on the Braden Surprenant Show. We are leading you up to Gwen and Chris, who will then set you up for the Ecowater SoCal Padres pregame show with Sam Levitt at 3:15. Padres baseball at 4:15. We'll talk more Padres baseball in a little bit, but we do need to get a contestant for today's midday sports standoff. If you could take me down in some sports trivia, you can qualify for a chance to win our grand prize, a trip to see Bruno Mars in Las Vegas, including 2 tickets to his show at Dolby Live at Park MGM on September 3rd, a 2-night stay at Park MGM, and a $100 gift card. Tickets are on sale now at Ticketmaster.com. We kind of briefly teased this. I will go through it. Got a lot of general managers out there that listen to our show and always want to make the Padres moves. That's what's great about a talk show. We could play general manager and everything like that. Jim Bowden, who has done this a lot and will probably do it again for everybody thinking about what you do at the end of the season. It's kind of a brief tease. Maybe you can find some rentals out there with the top 50 potential MLB free agents of the 2025-2026 offseason. They go through the list. In terms of players that are Padres that are going to be free agents, the highest one ranked as of right now, as they continue to go through, it'll probably be it's Luis Arraez at 16. Did I miss Michael King? Top 20 potential free agent. Oh, they're position players. So Luis Arraez is 16th best position player available on the open market. As for pitchers, number 1 is Michael King. He has a mutual option that he'll probably turn down. 29 years old. He's gone 55 2/3 innings pitched this year, 64 strikeouts, ERA plus of 156, career WAR 10.9. He's vaulted to the top of the starting pitcher rankings simply by outperforming the field. Sub-3 ERA in each of the past 4 seasons, including last year when he went 13-9 with a 2.95 ERA in each of the past 4 seasons, including last year when he went 13-9 with a 2.95 ERA over 31 appearances and 30 starts. This season, King has a 2.59 ERA over 10 starts with 64 punchouts and 17 walks. He's number 1. Number 2 on the list is Dylan Cease, who is also 29 years old. You have arguably the 2 best pitchers going on to the open market during the into the offseason. Michael King, Dylan Cease. After that, it's Zach Gallen of the Diamondbacks, also 29. Framber Valdez of the Astros, age 31. Seth Lugo of the Royals has a player option if he wants to take out. He's 35 years old. And then it's Ranger Suarez, Jack Flaherty, Walker Buehler. A lot of those have opt-outs and mutual options. Zach Eflin and Merrill Kelly. Outside of the top 2, which are currently on your roster, there's not a lot to begin with when it comes to the starting pitching market. And all of these guys are going to be getting like $20-something million. Plus, I mean, Sean Manaea got $20-something million from the Mets. Aiden Howard ropes a double down the line. That's going to clear the bases for San Diego. 1-run scores, 2-run scores, play at the plate, not in time. San Diego has taken a 5-0 lead as Aiden Howard rolls into third base. 5-0 USD, bottom of the first inning with a runner on third and 2 outs. That's a knock you need, big time. Other members that are pitchers, Justin Verlander, 42. Clayton Kershaw, 37. Jose Quintana, 36. Nick Martinez. I'd bring Nicky Tight Pants back. Michael Lorenzen. I mean, there's not a lot of options out there. Free agent closers. Robert Suarez, who's finally going to opt out. At age 34 is the number 1 closer. Ryan Helsley at age 30. What about signing Ryan Helsley in the offseason?
Yeah, that'd be a good look, for sure.
You know what his intro song is?
Hell's Bells, yes.
It is Hell's Bells. Do you think the
I
Padres
remember
are allowed
that was
to do
I
that?
remember that was a big thing when he started using it, I remember.
If the Padres sign Ryan Helsley and he asks to use Hell's Bells, how would you feel as a Padres fan about that? As long as Trevor Hoffman said it's cool?
That's for the callers to decide. I can't really say on that.
Unless if Trevor Hoffman said absolutely not, which he's cool, dude. He's chill. There's no way he wouldn't say it. But if Trevor said it was cool, I think it'd be cool. Could you imagine?
Yeah, absolutely.
Hell's Bells back at Petco Park?
Now,
Ryan Helsley?
You would have to understand, especially if you're Helsley, you have to understand it's not going to mean the same thing as it did years ago.
It's not.
It's not going to hit the same.
Other closers, Edwin Diaz, is he opting out?
No, he is not opting out.
Luke Weaver, Raisel Iglesias, Devin Williams. Oh, Devin Williams. Reclamation project.
He's turned it around now, though, unfortunately.
Padres got him right. Aroldis Chapman, how old is it? 37. That guy was showing up like when I was like a freshman, sophomore in high school. Still pitching. Kyle Finnegan, Jordan Romano. Jordan Romano's been rough. Kenley Jansen, age 37. 20 players that have club options. Chris Sale, Freddie Peralta, Jaron Duran, William Contreras, Salvador Perez, Andres Munoz. No way they let him walk at $12 million. Luis Robert Jr., Ozzie Albies, Pete Fairbanks. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. We'll see Matt Strahm back in a Padres uniform. We kind of blew through the top position players. I mean, you can find maybe a left field replacement. But when you look through this, I think you should look for rentals. Kyle Tucker, not a rental. Cubs ain't getting rid of him. San Diego State baseball is down 3-1.
He's got a he's got a player option this year, right? Does Tucker? I think Tucker's got a player option after each of the 3 years.
It says he doesn't.
I think he's got an option after this year, next year. Because there's only a 3-year deal. He signed with them, but he has options. That's at least from what I remember from his signing.
That's what I thought. He doesn't have it. They have all these mentioned on there. Like Alex Bregman can opt out of his contract with the Red Sox. He's the number 2 player. Pete Alonso can opt out of his contract. He's playing so well, he probably will.
Yeah, I would expect Alonso to opt out.
Kyle Schwarber is a free agent as a DH at age 32. Bo Bichette who we think will probably re-sign with Toronto. He's available to be a shortstop at age 27. Cody Bellinger can opt out. He's age 29. Trent Grisham, 8th best potential free agent. Do we think he's turned it around and this is his peak, or do we think he's getting the benefit of his ballpark? I mean, he's hitting on the road, too.
Who again? I'm sorry.
Trent Grisham. If you sign Trent Grisham to a long-term contract, are you going to get Matt Carpentered?
Yes.
You might get
100%.
Matt Carpentered. I'd be super out if I was the Padres on that deal. Marcell Ozuna.
No.
He's from the Braves.
Ozuna from the Braves?
Josh Naylor. Josh Naylor's been pretty good.
That'd be a welcome back. By the way, Kyle Tucker, he is an unrestricted free agent next year.
No, so he doesn't have it. He signed a one-year deal.
Yes.
Naylor. Again, think about this from a perspective of rentals. Everybody we mentioned they're all on contending teams so far. Looking for rentals. Josh Naylor from the Diamondbacks. He ain't going to be traded to the Padres. Jorge Polanco on the Mariners. Vesting mutual option. Left knee problem in the past.
But he's having an incredible season this year.
Mariners are in first place.
Yeah, they're not letting go of him.
Gleyber Torres, potential rental. 12th best free agent available. He also is on a contending team. The Tigers have the best record in baseball.
No.
Eugenio Suarez. Also on a contending team.
He would be a DH, but...
Again, you're looking for a rental right now.
It's on a contending team, plus in the division, you're going to get fleeced if you want him.
JT Realmuto, contending team. He's 34. Did you sign him in the offseason as a placeholder? That's a lot of money you're going to have to give him.
That's a lot of money
34.
for a placeholder, but it's also a very good mind for Ethan Salas to pick.
We found one. 15th best potential free agent. 30 years old, lefty. OPS plus 131, career WAR 16. Cedric Mullins.
That's a viable one. Also, Tyler O'Neill is also going to be he has options, but that would also be an interesting one from Baltimore.
Tyler O'Neill's getting paid.
He's getting a lot.
Cedric Mullins
is not.
You better hope Baltimore continues to collapse. They still think they can contend. Cedric Mullins, potentially. Luis Arraez is 16. Paul Goldschmidt on the Yankees, 17th best free agent in this year's class.
Nope.
Then there's Tyler O'Neill at age 29 with an opt-out. This is what the quote was for Tyler O'Neill. Given his extensive injury history, as I Need Money puts in the chat, Tyler 15-day IL O'Neill.
Well, it'd be 10 days, not a pitcher.
Yeah, come on, dude. We got to be better if we're going to chat. That's a foul.
If you're going to insult me, do it properly.
That's right.
He draws the foul.
One less chance of him being the moderator in the mod in the chat. He just took a ding right there. Given his extensive injury history, don't expect O'Neill to opt out of a contract that will have 2 years and $33 million remaining. However, you never know how these types of deals will play out. O'Neill is currently sidelined with a left shoulder impingement. No thanks. His second stint on the IL this season, he has played 115 games or more in a season just once in his career, but when healthy, he has impressive power, blasting 31 homers for Boston last season and 34 for St. Louis. Out. Lourdes Gurriel Jr., member of the Diamondbacks, not a rental. What about Rhys Hoskins? You don't like him because he started a fight with McNeil?
He's also a Philly, too. That's a double dinger on him.
Not a Colorado Rocky dinger. Also not really a rental. I mean, the Brewers aren't playing that well, but I don't necessarily know if that's a...
But the Brewers are really one of, if not the only team that can legitimately threaten the Cubs in the Central. So,
but if you look at it overall, from a rental perspective, top 50 free agents, most of those free agents are on contending teams.
Yeah.
There's not a lot available. But on top of that, are there a lot of these players on this list you would give long, big contracts to?
No.
Not really.
Josh Naylor would probably be the only one.
I mean, Kyle Tucker's going to get paid.
Oh, he's
out of your price range.
Yes.
Alex Bregman's going to get paid. I don't need to deal with the third base fiasco with that. Pete Alonso is going to get paid. Kyle Schwarber, it's an interesting topic of discussion as a DH.
Yeah, there's your DH.
That would be you'd pay for him to be a DH. I don't think you'd have to pay him that much either if you wanted to do that. Bo Bichette, you're not going to spend money on a shortstop, not when you got one coming up. Cody Bellinger, he's going to want a lot of money. He's probably not worth the money that he's expected to get paid. He might be benefiting from a Yankee Stadium. Trent Grisham, I wouldn't give money to. Marcell Ozuna's 34. I don't know if I'd give him a lot of money. Josh Naylor, as you mentioned, at age 27, might be worth giving a contract to if he becomes a free agent. But he might be worth a lot of money, too, because of his age. Jorge Polanco has a vesting mutual option that he'll probably opt out of. Not really interested in Gleyber Torres. Eugenio Suarez. I mean, he was miserable for the Reds for a while. He's kind of had a resurgence. I can't imagine him playing to a top level at age 33. JT Realmuto is going to demand a lot of money for an aging catcher. Cedric Mullins, I think, is probably your best get.
Again, if I were to risk it for somebody, it'd probably be JT Realmuto.
In terms of a contract sign?
Yeah, to have someone like him with Ethan Salas to learn off of and to be able to pick his brain, that's one that I would justify spending more money than I probably should have for a guy like JT Realmuto, knowing what's coming up behind.
JT's getting $23.8 million this year. Does he make more or less a year?
Less.
He should be making less. He's 34.
That or you could try to front load it and say, listen, we want you here to help. We need a catcher, but we also need somebody to mentor this kid who is going to be our catcher of the future. If you don't have Ethan Salas, I don't touch JT Realmuto. But because you have him, that puts him on the radar, at least for me.
What do you think you got to offer JT Realmuto? He's 34. A 3-year deal?
Yeah. That would be my max.
Would you give him 3 years, 15 a year? Does he sign for that?
I would say between 15 and 20 front loaded. I would say between 15 and 20.
3-year contract.
Possibly if he would do the front loaded between 15 and 20, I would say, you know what, if you want a 4th year, I'll give you the 4th year.
3 years, 45. I wouldn't give him 20 a year. Would you go 360? 3 years, 60 million?
I tried 4 years, 65.
4 years, 65. What about 3 years and a club option? He wouldn't sign for that.
No.
3 years in a club.
You would be very hard pressed right now to find any player that would sign with sign a club option.
Oh yeah, definitely not.
Especially if it's a big name quality player.
I'd give him around 3 years, anywhere between 50 and 55 million, 45 to 55 million dollars. Front load it, and if some team wants to overpay for him as a contender, sounds good.
Yeah, but again, if the only reason why you would even consider that or entertain it is for Ethan Salas, that's it. That's the only reason why you would entertain it.
I don't mind that idea. I think that's worth the investment, to be honest with you.
Yes, 100%.
Not just having, even if JT doesn't play that well, I think that's worth the investment.
Yeah, because again, you're not signing JT Realmuto for JT Realmuto. You're signing JT Realmuto for his brain, for your future superstar, quote unquote, catcher to learn from. That's what you would be signing him for.
A 3-year deal. You could be stuck with that because Ethan Salas is not, what is he, 19? He's going to be about 3 years.
Yeah.
Where he gets to work with JT Realmuto at some point in time. He'll slowly start to decline, obviously, at age 35 next year, 36, 37.
And that's why I would suggest. That's why I would say I would be willing to do a 4th year because if you think the way I would think is Salas is in the minors this year, next year he comes up late. Give him 2 full years with Real Muto as a backup, or at least first full year he's the backup, and then the second full year JT's the backup. That would be year 4.
I don't mind that. Might be discuss about it a little bit more when we come back. Final hour of the Braden Surprenant Show on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. You don't like it, Frank?
No.
Oh, it's great. I love it. Frank's about to have his old man yells at cloud statement. his old man yells at cloud segment. We got a remix of Long Cool Woman in a Black Dress.
Not good. Not good.
Oh, it's so great. I love those remixes.
Some are good. That one
was
was
good.
not.
I was
No,
vibing, dude.
No.
Old man yells at clouds.
No.
833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. He's Frank Marchese. I'm Braden Surprenant. This is the Braden Surprenant Show on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. Talking a lot of different things today in the sports world. Update on college baseball. San Jose State now has a 5-1 lead on the Aztecs in the top of the 6th inning. In Vegas and the West Coast Conference Tournament elimination game, San Diego is up on Gonzaga 5-0 as they go to the top of the 3rd inning. Just a couple of reset points. Padres will be in Atlanta for the weekend before they come home to take on the Marlins and the Pirates to finish up the month of May, and then start what is a very difficult month of June for San Diego. We will get to more of that later on, a little bit of a preview. Equal SoCal Padres pregame show with Sam Levitt will start at 3:15. He's already walking around in the building. And we know it's him because nobody's here on Fridays, and the lights turn off in the hallways until they flicker on when there's a motion. And the motion sensors will freak you out sometimes when you're here late at night, Frank, doing Padre games before.
Yes, they do.
Or on the weekends when you think you're the only person in the building, or as I used to do during COVID, when it was just me, Paul, and Scraby in the building. Those lights flicker on. What's going on? Who's here? Oh, it's just Sam. It's like there's a SpongeBob reference in here somewhere.
We got we just got Sam walking by. Oh, here he is now, as a matter of fact.
He keeps walking back and forth on a FaceTime.
Wearing a Northwestern shirt, by the way. Usually...
How are they doing in the baseball tournament right now?
I have no idea.
I can look it up real for you.
Again,
as you're saying. Go
wasn't
continue.
my week to watch him. Usually when he was... when I was with Scraby doing the Scraby show on Wednesdays during the off season, he would like shove his face up against the glass and just like look in and point at his watch, like, hurry up. Like, no, dude.
Oh, man. Does he put his face and like press his nose against the glass? Oh,
yes.
That's disgusting, dude. I can't tell you last time those things were cleaned. That's gross, Sam. Northwestern did not make the Big Ten tournament.
Darn.
Bummer, dude. Frogs play tonight. They play Kansas. USD is winning, as I mentioned before, 5-0 over Gonzaga, top of the 3rd. Anyway, it's been mentioned. Here it is. We've teased it long enough. College football. Frank, what do we got? I'll let you outline it before we discuss about college football and what the Power Four wants to do in college football in creating what seems like a new college sports commission. What's the latest?
So this comes from the topic on the sports thread that I had a couple days ago, where the Power Four conferences, the NCAA is getting sued right now. It's House versus NCAA. That lawsuit settlement is supposed to be finalized soon. What these Power Four schools are trying to do is they are all trying to get together, combine together, and basically say, listen, we're not going to contest this. Whatever happens in the lawsuit, we're all going to abide by it. We're all going to just calm down. We're all going to chill. And this would create the College Sports Commission, which they are wanting to do a lot of stuff to restrict NIL and make sure that these schools are, and the kids are getting, quote, fair market value for a lot of these new NIL deals that are coming down the line. couple of schools, couple big name schools from the SEC, Tennessee and Vandy, have both said, listen, we have a state law on our side. We're not going to sign this. And this committee, the sports commission, the college sports commission, has pretty much said, if you don't sign this, we will expel you and we will refuse to play you in the conferences. So it's quite an interesting thing. And it looks like the Power Four conferences are trying to break away and do something separate from the NCAA and from college football in general.
I'm looking at this. And I got the breakdown. I get what they're doing. So here's exactly, for layman's term, what they're doing. As Frank laid out, just to reiterate, the Power Four is making their own league. Are they just doing this for football, or are they doing it for all sports? Does it mention it?
I've only seen it for football.
I wouldn't be surprised for basketball, but the problem is they know that the NCAA tournament is a big moneymaker, and if they break away from everything, the NCAA is going to be like kick rocks. So anyway, the Power Four conferences, which is the Big Ten, the SEC, the ACC, the Big 12, are essentially making their own league. They are making their own professional league as run by themselves. They're calling it the College Sports Commission. And what they're doing is they are making a professional version of college football in which they control what's going on in the college athletics. And I think for where everything is going right now in college athletics, I think it's very much needed. And here's the deal with the NCAA, they can't they don't have a lot of power and they can get sued. And what they're doing right now, the College Sports Commission is creating a central entity that could govern over the Power Four schools in terms of these are the rules that we're going to play by. It makes every rule, or should it say it makes every conference abide by the same rules. And with the NIL clearinghouse, which I think is a good point, is it eliminates schools from getting these NIL contracts for players that don't make any sense. A mom and pop shop place paying millions of dollars for a player to, quote, show up every once in a while is not fair market value. It doesn't make any sense. And so they're trying to eliminate some of this pay for play on the NIL side and make it actually NIL contracts where it makes sense. So I don't mind this. And with this sets up a lot of different things. I think this sets up a potential for a collective bargaining agreement where the players could unionize theoretically and make a deal with CSC, and then they can establish rules. They can establish rules on transfers. They can establish rules on NIL. They can establish rules on how much money they can split with organization or with their players. And all these players that play at these schools will have to probably sign a contract, just as much as these schools are signing a contract with the College Sports Commission. And it kind of eliminates a lot of the Wild West NIL era that you're dealing with. I don't mind this. Now, here's the deal. They're basically saying, we're moving on. We're becoming professional. If you do not want to abide by these rules, you're going to get left behind. And we don't really care if you have better rules in your home state. If you're Vanderbilt or Tennessee, we will move on without you. It's almost like they're calling each other's bluff. If you're Tennessee and you currently have an advantage right now with whatever the in-state legislation is of the state of Tennessee, but you get left out of the power conferences, I mean, what are you going to be, independent and only play FC? You're only going to play group of 5 schools? How's that going to work out for you?
I can't see the SEC getting rid of an original SEC member. I can't see it. Vanderbilt?
They're not going to change the rules for Tennessee, though. But this is what we're doing.
If you're the Big,
and if you don't like it, move on.
Like I said a couple days ago, if you're the Big Ten, are you kicking Ohio State out?
Who's got the leverage?
But who's
got the leverage?
Are you kicking out Ohio State if you're the Big Ten? No, you're not.
Well, if Ohio State is not going to be able to play anybody in the Power Four, and they're only going to play group of 5 schools because of the rules that everybody else agreed to, is Ohio State better off on their own playing only group of 5 schools, or Or are they going to get in line with everybody else? Who's got more value?
I would think it's the school over the conference. I would think the school has more value over the conference because if we saw it with the Pac-12, the Pac-12 lost all of its value when they lost Washington, when they lost USC, when they lost Oregon. It ceased to exist effectively.
Those are brand schools that are getting moved to a brand network that's getting paid money. My thing is, if they leave, let's say Tennessee, they're not going to get. They'd have to go get their own TV contract. They don't get the money on the value there.
It's a pain in the neck.
They
You're right.
can't play anybody in the Power Four. So what I'm saying is Tennessee the same team that they are now if they only play Group of 5 schools? They would essentially become a Group of 5 school. They'd be a very wealthy Group of 5 school, but if they're not invited into the playoff and they're not invited into playing any of these schools, and they're playing all the teams from the MAC and the Sun Belt every week over a couple of years, is Tennessee more powerful than are they better off? The answer is no.
But this highlights the problem with what is going on with this document is that it's the Power 4 schools only. It's not something that was put up by the NCAA for the entirety of college football as a sport. It was put up by the Power 4 schools for the Power 4 schools. This has nothing to do with making college football better. It has everything to do with making the Power 4 better, and you can very easily make the assumption that it's them trying to break away and create their own league, which is going to...
That's exactly what they're doing.
Which, as we saw with the PGA and LIV, helps no one.
It's going to put the Group of 5 at a bit... Well, what's going to happen is they're going to pay... The Group of 5 schools are going to be like, we're not going to pay athletes to play here. They're just going to be here, and we're going to do our own thing, and it's going to create a different division.
And again, this is where what I said on Wednesday also comes back is when we said we wanted these kids to get paid, this is not what we meant. We wanted them to get a cut of merch sales. We wanted, selfishly wanted our NCAA football game back. Have the kids get paid for that. We didn't want these kids to go to the local Nike store and get a contract there. That's not what we had in mind. That's not what we wanted. That's not what we said.
That's what the kids wanted. That's what the players wanted. And you know what?
You're in college. And I love how ever since this started, the NCAA has completely dropped the moniker of student athlete, students first. No, they've completely lost that. What happened to that? When they were fighting to keep these kids from getting paid, what happened to that student athlete? Student is first.
Once you opened up the can of worms and you didn't install any rules for the NIL and just let everybody go crazy, you no longer had any type of jurisdiction on anything. And when you go to money, all of a sudden you got antitrust laws. And with antitrust laws, you can't hold people there to so many standards when it comes to academics and when it comes to how long you're eligible in order to make money and everything like that.
They were barely holding kids to academic standards to begin with.
Right. But the problem is the fact that they never enforced anything to begin with. And they didn't have any legs to stand on. And they got undercut by the conferences because the conferences would run their own stuff. There wasn't a central governing body, really. Every conference had different rules, and everything was getting the legislation, and you wanted to have it, and they wanted to be paid, and they wanted to be paid like professionals and everything like that.
No.
And now all of a sudden, well, that's what the kids wanted. I mean, that's not what college football fans wanted. And for some of us that saw the writing on the wall and looked past the tree in front of us and looked at the forest, understood once you opened up the can of paying these student athletes money, they're going to always want more, and it's never going to be good enough, and it's going to continue to push. And that's what it's going to be. You've opened it up. It's now professional sports. And so in order to make the professional sports competitive, you have to now establish these rules that they're currently doing to make it an even playing field like every other professional sport.
Right. But my point is, this is something that should be done by the NCAA, not the top four conferences for the top four conferences.
This should have been done, Frank,
from the beginning,
10
right?
years ago.
Yes, from the beginning.
That ship has sailed. The NCAA does not exist anymore. And so in order to recreate the NCAA, the Power Four are doing it themselves. They're doing it themselves. And that's and here and there.
And it should include everyone, not just them.
But their argument is we make more money in the TV contracts. We're the ones that drive the sport with TV contracts because of our fan bases. Why would I share with schools that don't bring the same revenue that we do? It's the same thing with a lot of different sports, right? Of lower level sports that want to get paid the same as higher level sports. You get paid for what you're worth. And the top four schools, top power schools are getting paid a lot more because they draw a lot more eyeballs than the lower schools. I'm not saying it's fair.
Oh, congratulations.
And I'm not saying it's right.
College football.
But this got ruined as soon as you started paying athletes and not having rules enforced of it's only for this. And they didn't establish the rules, let it get out of hand. And now you'll have a new division. It will be the Power Four, and then it'll be the Group of Five, and then there's FCS. But the thing is, as long as they break away from football, the rest of the college athletics will be fine. You're just going to have a minor league for the NFL. And that's all you're going to have.
With kids transferring every year. Great.
Well, not if you establish the rules where this is where this gets established is you'll be like, there's only one. They'll start eliminating a lot of the freedoms that some of these players have.
What happened to losing a year of eligibility when you transfer? What happened to that? Because that was the thing.
They fought it. The kids fought it, and the judges were like, yeah, that's unfair. I mean, that's what if none of your rules can be applied because of all these other things, then you have no enforcement of anything, which means you're basically nothing, and you're not going to win lawsuits. All these players started just suing for everything. I mean, it's only a matter of time before they start suing that eligibility is bogus, and it's hampering me from making millions upon millions of dollars. You're going to get a Cam Rising type player that's going to be like, hey, I'm never going to be good enough for the NFL, but Utah continues to pay me $2 million. I can continue to thrive down here. Why does a meaningless level of how many years I'm out of school affect the way that I make money? I mean, seriously.
It's like WCW in the mid-90s.
And in the law, in the court of law, the judges are going to be like, hey, this kid's got a point. That's where it's really going to end things.
I've got a point.
And when you got 32-year-olds playing college athletics and preventing high schoolers from advancing the next level, it's going to be bad. I saw that the other day on a high school football coaches page on Facebook. How come all the high school kids aren't getting as many offers as they used to? Well, I don't know. Maybe because colleges want grown-ass men playing and they can get him in the transfer portal. Why would I ever recruit a high school kid?
Exactly
because when I recruit him and he does well and I put time, money, and effort into the kid, he gets good, and guess what he does?
Gone.
He tells you to kick rocks, and he goes to the portal, and then he goes to a bigger school. So why would I ever recruit high school players? There's really no reason for it.
I've got a couple points left to make here. One, we got to get to break.
We'll hear your points when we come back.
Two, San Diego leading 10-0 right now over Gonzaga in the bottom of the third inning.
Jack Irvich, a bomb I saw.
And three, Padre lineup's out. And that we can talk about.
We're going to get you the Padres lineup. We're going to get to your phone calls. Rich in Solana Beach, Sam and Del Mar will continue this conversation. If you would like to do so, we will also get Frank's points that he has when we come back on the Braden Surprenant Show. San Diego's #1 sports station, 97 through the Fan. So in our conversation of remixes to classic songs, this is on the Frank approved.
Yeah, that one's fine. We live with that one.
Okay. Why? Because it's Elvis Presley? Little less conversation,
For the most part,
little
yeah.
more action, please.
Sounds good, too.
It's good. Okay. You just don't like the long, cool woman in a black dress.
No, not that one, no.
All right. Oh, we just lost both our phone calls that we're going to get to. Sam, Rich, what's going on, man? Cold feet. Figure out who that other person is, I guess. 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. They left us on hold the entire break, and as soon as we come back, automatically just hung up. Another one. Bites the dust, huh? They want it bad enough.
Eastern Bank, it must have been an actual bank, like the building called, because no one spoke on the other side.
Wow. The college athletic thing is so crazy to me. I mean, I can spend hours on it. We can't go in the past anymore. The college, the college feel for everything has already been ruined. But in terms of trying to fix what you currently have, I don't mind the College Sports Commission with the lone exception of small schools really getting the bad part about this. Rich in Solana Beach is back. Rich, you're on the Braden Surprenant Show. What's going on, man?
Thank you. Enjoyed your call. I'm not an expert in all this NIL stuff, although I've been on your call before a couple of years ago because I was chair of the UC Board of Regents and still on the UC Board, so I had to deal with all of this. And I will tell you that you're absolutely correct. What happened with the NIL, which I think, I can understand why athletes wanted some money because they were working so hard and not getting paid, and the schools were profiting big time. But there needed to be guardrails around it. There needed to be rules around it. After that was happening, it's become a disaster. So I'm much more of a Padres fan, and I'm an expert on that. Well, I don't know if I'm an expert, but I know that. I don't know as much about NIL, but I can tell you your instincts are absolutely correct, Braden.
Oh, thank you, Rich. I appreciate that. It's a mess, dude. I mean, no coaches like to deal with this. It's just it's way out of control. It's been out of control since they started allowing it because they didn't put any rules in before, and it's just been an epic disaster. We didn't even talk about the impact of what this potentially has for San Diego State. Frank is advocating, obviously, for the non-Power 4 schools. And I'm torn in the middle here. And Frank is, too, for that matter, because of the fact that we have Power 4 schools that we root for. I attended one. As well as I'd love to see San Diego State and USD be able to survive. I mean, Aztec football right now, you look at the writing on the wall with what's going on. I mean, this is catastrophically bad for them.
It's catastrophically bad for any team.
Anybody that's not currently in a power. That's why it was so important to get into a power conference when you had the opportunity to do so.
Could you imagine there's a unicorn that goes to Kent State.
Eric
Good
Lauer.
on you. Great job. Fantastic. He's gone the instant you get him. So why bother promoting him? Why bother training him up? Because he's not going to stick around because there's no incentive for him. That's the biggest problem for me with this is that everyone else is going to get left behind and everything is going to suffer.
Not only
everything.
Is that going to get left behind? Wow, AJ Beltre just made a hell of a play. Look like his dad, dude. For anybody that doesn't know, Adrian Beltre's son plays for USD. Just made a great play at third base. Adrian Beltre level. Good for AJ. Terrell's cruising up 10-0. But you're 100% right. I mean, they're just going to get left behind. I mean, I would be shocked. I mean, at this point, San Diego State football, like just in terms of being a program, might have numbered days. With the way, this is continuing. 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. I know Kevin wasn't going to stay away for too long on this matter. We've been preaching about this for a long time. Kevin in Chula Vista, you're on the Braden Surprenant Show. What's going on?
Yeah, both of you guys are making great points, but let me open up another Pandora's box for you.
Oh, no.
These are most of them. Yeah, get ready. Most of the institutions are taxpayer-funded institutions. So
Yes.
tell me, how is it legal, right, or correct that now taxpayer money is being used in a huge conflict of interest to fund what is now turning out to be professional sports? When is that class action lawsuit going to hit? When is the students that are getting screwed over because their money that is supposed to be used for them is now being put into professional sports, what is now turning out to be? There's another can of worms yet to be opened. And tell me one other thing, Braden. Tell me, San Diego State, for example, has been around for over 100 years. We, the people, we, the students, we, the alumni, made that name what it is. So for the privilege of putting that name with your name on the back and the name of the school in the front, we made that. Not these guys that are coming in or gals coming in on all of these little nil deals that come for a year and move away. This is ours. It's not theirs. They don't have a right to it. So I see lots of different lawsuits here that could and should be filed. And if anyone's interested, I'd love to join in, because this has got to stop. This is insanity, and nobody is bringing up the real issues here, which is, how is it that taxpayer money is now being used to fund professional athletics at schools? I don't get it.
Kevin, that's another can of worms, man. And I forgot about that. But you're right. Most of these schools are state schools. There's only a handful of them that are private schools. And in the state schools, now, if you decide, that's the other thing, too. I mean, again, you're going to make these guys employees. They keep fighting to the point where they want to be employees and get paid by the school. Are you telling me the highest paid employees in the state of California are going to be players at UCLA? There's no way. In this state, especially this state of California, where money is a mess, and I'm not going to get into politics about California, but in what world do you think California is going to allow student athletes at Cal Berkeley and at UCLA and all the UCs and the Cal States like San Diego State and San Jose State to have their players get paid higher than all of the other employees of the state of California? In what world? Which means those schools aren't going to be able to compete for some of these things if they decide to go to employee-based entities. That's why I think they're eventually just going to lease their logos to people. 833-288-0973. 833-288-0973. Sam and Del Mar, you're on the Braden Surprenant Show. What's going on, Sam?
Hey, happy Friday.
Happy
what
Friday.
this really kind of like reminds me of? The fact that Rob Manfred, swinging this to like baseball, wants to create a unified baseball platform for everybody to watch. But just like the Power Four, why would the Yankees, the Mets, the Red Sox, the Dodgers, and maybe a select other few teams ever do that with the amount of money that they are making from their own respective deals? I don't see how any of that's going to even be possible the same way how this is all broken for college sports.
I agree with you, Sam. I mean, they want to do that, but that's the same thing. I mean, they're trying to convince like the Dodgers to give up their TV contract for a central one for everything else. If you're the Dodgers, like, why would I do that? It's the same thing with some of these other conferences. The Power Four, they're like, why are we going to give up our big money contracts to try to split with somebody else?
There are a couple of teams in baseball, like the Yankees and the Mets. They own their own television stations.
Right.
So, like, why would I give up my own entity in order to do this?
Last phone call, because we got to get to break and get to Drake Hills. Joey in the South Bay. What's going on, Joey?
Hey, brother. You know what? Lease your logo. Wow, that's pretty deep, man. I was thinking about brands. I was thinking about the brand of universities and how they're pretty much have been kind of hijacked. You know, I'm a UCLA grad, and student athlete meant more in the UC system than it did at a lot of other places. You know, I won't say which, but it's something that I really particularly feel that we have lost. And I'll tell you two points. One, on the sentimental side, how are people from Alabama and Ohio State and all of them in the Power Four going to feel when they realize that what they have truly lost is sophomore Bernie Kosar losing on a last-minute pass from senior Doug Flutie, and all of the other kind of stories like that in the history of college sports, football in particular, that we can look back on with great fondness. When you do have 31 and 32-year-olds, like, are they really going to start to have the same warm fuzzies about their Bama teams? And are they going to start to lose interest, especially when all of these other lawsuits start to happen? Which, number two, here's another small can of worms. The law for Title IX. What happens when all of these other non-Power 4 schools are no longer able to put female sports or women's sports out onto the field because the monies aren't there?
Yeah, that's another one. We lost Joey there at the end. I mean, I look back and I look at, like, I'm a TCU season ticket holder, and I watch them play football. I love, it's my school. I used to work for the football team, a little extra, juice in that matter. But at the same time, it's like you got a brand new team every year. How do you like get engaged if you have a brand new team every year and everybody's holding out for more money? It's just be like, all right, whatever. I think a lot of these players in particular, it's not just the players' fault. I mean, the schools let this get out of hand too. Everybody, there's multiple problems at hand. But the reason why a lot of college athletics do well, is mentioned by Joey in the South Bay, when it comes to branding, is people are affiliated with the logo and the brand. It's the difference between college basketball and the G League. The G League has better players than college basketball. If you took the worst team in the G League and had them play the best college team, they'd probably wipe the floor with the best college team. Nobody cares about the G League. Nobody cares at all. Why is that? You have no affiliation with the logos in the league. I mean, I look at some of the casual college fans in my family, aka my mom and my sister. My mom went to Arizona. She doesn't know any of the players on the team ever. She's not showing up for the players. She's showing up because of the A and the Arizona logo with the cactus and Wilbur. Because she went to the school. It's her school. She has a connection to it. I think a lot of people miss that sometimes. That's the difference between the spring football league and college football. The logo. Nobody watches spring football. All of those players were all-stars in college. All of them. It's better athletes than college football does. Nobody watches. Nobody gives a damn. Why? They have no emotional connection to it. There's a lot of different can of worms and Pandora boxes you can open up with this conversation. And it's really spurred a lot of phone calls. But we got to get to a break, and we got to get to Drake Hills to give us a preview of San Diego FC and the LA Galaxy, as well as our usual Soccer 101 to finish up the week. He's Frank Marchese. I'm Braden Surprenant. Coming up next, Drake Hills on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97 through the Fan. Baseball coverage on 97 through the Fans presented by T-Mobile. Head to T-Mobile.com and get a great deal on an iPhone 16 Pro. We talked a lot of college athletics in this last segment. And speaking of college athletics, top of the fourth inning, San Diego has an 11-0 lead on Gonzaga. With one out in the in the bottom of the fourth, Adrian Beltre Jr. hit a pop-up to center field, and Gonzaga got sunballed. He ended up turning it into a triple. Eastlake Titan Nico Libid hit a sac fly to right field to drive in the run. It's 11-0 San Diego in game one of potentially two. If they could beat Gonzaga here right now, they'll play again at 8 o'clock against the loser of St. Mary's and LMU. They're trying to keep their season alive. One more loss and the Toreros are done. If they can continue to win, they can play their way into the NCAA tournament. That's the latest on USD. As for the Aztecs, I don't know if that game's gone final yet, but I had it before, and then I had to check on the Northwestern thing with
7-2 going into the seventh inning, San Jose State
for the Spartans. So that might be it for the Aztecs. It's not just college baseball going on right now or MLB. We also have the MLS in full force. Talked to Tyler Heaps yesterday when we were on with Gwen and Chris. Today, getting another breakdown on San Diego FC and talking a little bit soccer. The Soccer 101 is our man once a week. He always comes on, a contributing writer for Black Players for Change. His name is Drake Hills. He joins me today on the Braden Surprenant Show. Drake, what's going on, man?
Man, it's pretty breezy up here in San Francisco. Currently visiting for a family graduation.
Nice.
You know, keeping a quick tab on the San Francisco Giants. Obviously, it's a pretty nice ballpark. Since the Padres are on the road, I figured I can get on the road a little bit too. But yeah, it's a beautiful ballpark, but it's not Petco.
No, it's nothing's like Petco. I mean, it's up there, but it's not at the same level. Congratulations to your family member who is graduating from college. Let's talk about San Diego FC. Obviously, a lot of games in a row. They've really weathered the storm, and they've gone a little back to a heater after losing 3 straight. What have you seen out of San Diego FC in their last couple of matches?
Yeah, it's like you said. I mean, that 9-goal in 3-game concession. Now that was probably the worst we've seen this expansion team as far as the season. For them to bounce back and to put a shellacking, obviously against FC Dallas in response to that, and some pretty positive results following that game as well. We're in a position where San Diego FC has an opportunity going into the summer. Well, same thing in baseball, right? We call it the dog days of summer. It's soccer. It's the same thing. Especially in the Western Conference, you've got games against, Houston and Dallas, and obviously, when you get into that Midwest and the Southwest where the temperatures rise a little bit and you got to still play 90 minutes. So to be able to be where they are in the top 4 of the Western Conference standings, obviously, Anders Dreyer is really leading the pack, Chucky Lozano as well. They're playing attacking, possession-based soccer, which is exactly what they wanted to do.
Let's talk about their identity a little bit. We talked about it at the beginning of the season, right before they played LA Galaxy the first time. It was kind of a question mark of what the expansion team was going to be able to do. And after they won a couple of games out of the gate, now seeing where the Galaxy are, but also at the same point, seeing how this team has played for the first couple of months of the season. The biggest question that we had before this little run, Drake, was can they keep this up over a long period of time? What have you seen out of San Diego FC's identity that sets you up for the rest of the season, as mentioned, to kind of play off of what you mentioned with the dog days of summer?
You know what? The ball. That's as simple as I can put it. Is their identity is the ball. They're one with the ball. They have the possession. If you go back to that game against Sporting Kansas City, they had over 60%. They had 66% possession of the ball. It's tiring. For, if you're Sporting Kansas City, for 44% of the time you have the ball, the other 66, you're just running around, chasing it, basically playing keep away. That is a rough strategy. And not that Sporting Kansas City did that on purpose, but just saying that, going to the dog days of summer, to be able to be on the ball, to control the pace of the game, to be able to take chances, create chances going forward. You're in control of your own destiny, especially for this team that likes to play direct. They like to play vertical. So that means that they like to have, guys making runs in behind the defense. They're not playing a whole lot of flat angle passes, sideways passing, if you will. They're trying to go forward. Not only is it appealing to the eye, everyone at Snapdragon, but for the players themselves, they're in a position where they're always in control to win the game. And so for an expansion team to be able to do that, as teams have not yet found out how to stop them per se, you're going to be in a position where not only has this team proven to the Western Conference that they can win games, but potentially even make the playoffs, and even better, maybe even have some home field advantage once we get into November.
Contributing writer for Black Players for Change, Drake Hills joins us on the Braden Surprenant Show. He's been covering soccer for a long time. We talk San Diego FC with him each and every Friday on the Braden Surprenant Show. We'll be off the next 2 weeks from this. But when we come back next time that we chat, at that point, they'll have played a couple of games. I'll break down the game with LA Galaxy in a little bit, but we'll see our first international appearance with San Diego FC. They will be playing Club America coming up at Snapdragon Stadium on June 7th. What's the thing you're looking for most when you play some club-friendly matches for an MLS team?
Yeah, I'm actually going to take this off the field, Braden. Obviously, Club America is like the Dallas Cowboys, right, of Mexico. They are the Mexico's team, if you will. They're the famous, and historically speaking, the most dominant, right? If we're talking about trophies, they play at Estadio Azteca, so at a pretty big, monumental stadium in the middle of the city. So, and this is, I think, more so about bringing the soccer community together. Obviously, with a lot of the Chicano culture in San Diego, sharing a border with Mexico, this is going to be big for San Diego soccer culture, but I think also the San Diego FC fan base and the Club America fan base, them coming together. And it's going to be pretty cool to see what it's like to have, the biggest, most popular team in Mexico going up against, this new team on the block that is San Diego FC. So now I personally am making plans to be there. But I think it's going to be a spectacle for everyone, whether you're super into soccer or you've never been to a game in your life. I would probably say if you want to get a chance to see what soccer at its core looks like on this continent, I would say go to that game.
Coming up tomorrow, Drake, it is LA Galaxy coming to town. And going into the season, San Diego FC beating the LA Galaxy was a big deal because they were coming off winning the MLS a season ago. But since that win to win in the MLS championship, they haven't won since. There are no wins, 4 draws, 10 losses, despite them potentially not being obviously off to the start that they would like. What kind of challenges do LA Galaxy bring to San Diego FC and the challenges of playing a team for a second time?
Yeah, well, Braden, I think the best way I can put this is the only challenge that LA Galaxy does bring is pressure, right? Who wants to concede the first win for a winless team in 14 games, especially if you're San Diego FC and you're at home? So I think that's the only challenge that this game brings. I think everything else is internal for this squad, because if you take a look at the greater and the broader picture, I know we've been talking about Leagues Cup. That's 11 games from now. And so I think if you're San Diego FC, you want to start to get the ball rolling and rack up some wins, because the dog days of summer are coming, and Leagues Cup is configured in a way where it's almost like a kind of a different competition, really. It is a different competition, but the way you play, obviously the teams you're going to be playing against are coming from a different league in Mexico. So the overall strategy, the style, it's almost like having a different team within your team. And when you come out of that tournament, things can change. Form changes, how a player is playing. Are they going to continue in that form, in that quality, or are they going to have a quick slip up or not? So I think that it's important. The 11 games that we're talking about, I believe 5 or 6 are at home. And so you want to take advantage of those. That's basically, 15 to 18 points on the table that you want to see yourself in that top 4 spot. Now, but going back to LA Galaxy, it's kind of weird to even describe them as a reigning MLS Cup champion. No disrespect, but, they still are. Having said that, I mean, I just want to take a look at the players that have moved on and the players that are moved in, including the MLS Cup MVP from that game. Gaston Brugman, he's gone. Martin Caceres, he's gone. Daniel Aguirre, gone. Jalen Neal. We talked about Dejan Javelic, who's with Sporting Kansas City now. So it's pretty much a different team. Obviously, Greg Vanna is still the coach, and in fact, he was announced last week to signing an extension to 2028. So it looks like a project, a retool, a rebuild is in process for LA Galaxy, but for San Diego FC, this is just business as usual, and 3 points is expected here for tonight, or tomorrow night, I should say.
Yeah, well, hopefully we're looking for a good result for San Diego FC. Drake, enjoy the rest of your trip in the Bay Area. We'll talk to you in a couple of weeks.
I appreciate it. I'm at Lamar getting some Peruvian food, so
nice.
I'll send some. I'll send some back on email for you.
I appreciate that, Drake. Drake Hill's joining us on the Braden Surprenant Show. Frank Marchese, I'm Braden Surprenant. Off the next 2 weeks in Italy. Matt Scraby will have some of the shows, some Best of Ben and Woods. I will be updating everybody on Padres stuff on my social media on Trip. Follow me at B_SURP, and we'll see you in June on the Braden Surprenant Show, Sagan's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.